Hi beautiful souls, and welcome to my channel, Elle's Temple. My name is Elle. I am a goddess guide and intuitive tarot reader, and today I am so excited to be bringing you a very special Hekate reading. For those of you that have been watching my channel for the last few videos, I have mentioned Hekate and she's come out in a few different readings recently, and I've had a few comments on the channel from others who have also been followed around by this particular goddess, so I felt like it was time to do a dedicated Hekate reading. So the reading today is all about it's safe to speak, set your inner witch free. So this is going to be a really empowering reading. It's going to be an activating reading. If you are open to accepting the energies from Goddess Hekate, it is going to help clear out that throat chakra. We've got the beautiful sodalite crystal here, which is a really powerful one for throat chakra blockages. So for any of you that have been feeling called towards this path, feeling called towards being a healer or anything of that nature, there's different sort of types of witches, if you like, or different types of paths that are represented here, or different types of just healer energy, really. Even if you don't identify specifically as a witch or whatever, do not worry. It's not about necessarily being labeled as anything. It's more about the energy. It's more about embracing the energy of being a healer, and anything where in a past life you might have been persecuted or anything for that, or for being certainly anything like, you know, a priestess, a channel, a psychic, you know, someone who you know, channeled wisdom for your community in any sense, whether that was like health wisdom, whether it was spiritual wisdom, whatever it might have been, you know, anything along those lines. If you are drawn to any of that, or you're drawn to this reading, just trust that there is probably a message for you. So before I introduce each of the piles, I'm going to read a little bit about Hekate from this book, because Hekate has very different forms. And initially when I was going to do this reading, and I was planning to do a reading about kind of more of a crossroads style reading, because Hekate is also the goddess of the crossroads, as well as goddess of magic, the goddess of witches, you know, the midwife goddess. You know, she has many different forms. She's the one who, you know, she shines the guiding light for goddess Demeter, who, when Demeter has to go down into the underworld to find Persephone, and she's the one who takes that light and helps her go down there. So she's very much a goddess who can help guide us into the underworld, into our shadow selves, help heal anything that is in the darkness. So she has many, many different guises, many, many different ways of tapping into her power, many different facets of her. So initially I was thinking of a crossroads reading and looking at like, who have you been and who are you becoming, which I may still do at some point. So keep an eye out for that. Subscribe if you're not already, if you want to see that reading, because it's in the pipeline at some point. But the form that she wanted to come through today was in this form of past life healing. And I'm going to read the message from this book, because this will give you more of an idea of exactly what the kind of energy of this reading is going to contain, and it's really, really powerful. So let's get into it. We've got, it's past life healing, it's safe to speak, set your inner witch free. Hecate's pronounced Hekate or Hekate or Hekate. Her origins lie in Neolithic goddess cultures throughout Turkey, Bulgaria, and North Africa. To the ancient Greeks, she was a sorceress, queen of the underworld, and guardian of the crossroads. On the night of a new moon, food would be left for Hekate at the intersections of three roads, the Trivia. Or Trivia. Her symbols are the black crow, a cauldron of light, a key, a dagger, and rope. And I'm just going to quickly interrupt this to say that Hekate is very much a goddess who will choose to work with you. Certainly you can send a request out to Hekate to work with her if you're feeling drawn to, but you might notice that she has started coming to try and work with you already. If you're feeling called to this reading, chances are you've been guided here for a reason. She is a goddess who, unlike some of the other goddesses where you can, you know, depending on what's going on in your life, like say Aphrodite or something, you're, you know, feeling like you want to attract a romantic relationship and you can just sort of call on Aphrodite kind of thing. Hekate is kind of more one who she will call on you. So you will get a kind of, you might get a like Hekate awakening at some point in your life. And the reason I brought this up is because some of these symbols might have been something that you may have been noticing recently cropping up in some form. Like you might have noticed you've started seeing crows a lot, or you might have been seeing like randomly just like daggers or ropes, or Certain things. Also, crossroads is another one. Seeing crossroads a lot. Dogs as well. If you have dogs near you, or suddenly you have had a dog that like has come, like starts coming to your house randomly all of a sudden, or a dog that keeps coming over to you, these can all be little symbols, little signs that Hekate is kind of calling on you. So sorry to interrupt there, but I just felt that that needed to be pointed out. So when the Queen of the Witches shows up, it's highly significant. Absolutely, I will say that from personal experience. You're ready to confront, work through, and permanently heal age-old soul trauma arising from the historic persecution of feminine healers of any gender. So this isn't female gender specific. This is just feminine healers. So intuitive healers and so forth, holistic medicine healers, etc. You've previously lived through events such as the witch hunts of the European Middle Ages, and it's left painful scars in your soul. You have wondrous spiritual gifts to share with the world, yet they've been buried under rocks of fear. You carry past life memories of being banished for your goddess-centered role as a wise one, witch, shaman, healer, or midwife. So some of you may already be doing some of those things now, or you may be drawn to any one of those kind of paths or be really interested in them in some form. And it could be because you were one of those things in a past life. This old fear is very controlling, convincing you to remain silent and suppressed in this life. But it's time to dissolve the chains, untie the ropes, acknowledge the wounds, and unblock the throat chakra. Remembering the lifetimes in which you were persecuted for your spiritual power can be painful, but it's a healing process. Past life regression, breathwork therapy, and intuitive sessions can all help. Every step you take to speak your truth and reveal your wisdom, the more inner freedom you'll experience. It's safe to express your real voice, and your divine feminine energy is stronger than your fear. And the additional meanings of this card are: your throat chakra needs support to clear and heal. Learn about Wicca or rituals to awaken your inner witch or wise one. That's just for those of you that feel drawn to that. These meanings aren't like, oh, you've got to go and do this homework now or anything like that. It's just if you've already felt drawn towards that. You're in a liminal phase of a process or the crossroads. Be patient. The new path is soon to be revealed. Consult with a female elder or person who embodies Hecate's wisdom. And the invocation, if you want to use this, it is, I'll hold it up to the camera so you can take a picture if you like. Hekate, I pour all my fears of being visible into your cauldron of light. It's safe to speak and reveal my truth. Exactly. Beautiful. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce each of the 4 piles that we've got today. So pile number 1, if you are drawn to the Adelita of Fire Kayan card, this is equivalent to like Knight of Fire in traditional tarot. This is from the Herb Crafters Tarot, so I'll be drawing some cards from the Herb Crafters Tarot for your reading, and I've also pre-pulled some oracle cards. If you like to choose with crystals, the crystal for your pile is the tree agate here. Let's see if I can get the camera to focus. There we go. Okay, so we've got the tree agate, or the Adelita of Fire. You'll be pile number 1, and the timestamps will be below. So just to quickly explain for those of you that may be new to pick a card readings, there's 4 different piles. So there are 4 different separate readings. Choose one of the piles that you're most drawn to, and the timestamp for that pile will be below. You just click on the timestamp, it'll take you straight to that reading, and you can watch a reading that's, you know, perhaps a little bit more personalized for you. Sometimes you may be drawn to more than one pile, and it just means that, you know, there's crossover messages, there's a few messages from each of the different piles that may be relevant to you. It's certainly totally fine if you are drawn to more than one pile, especially with this kind of reading, because many of you may have had either different past lives, or even within this lifetime, you may have different powerful skills, different healer skills that you've started like awakening or that are within you. So it may well be that you're drawn to more than one pile in this particular reading. Okay, so to carry on introducing, if you are drawn to the citrine crystal, or the witch card, rather appropriately named, card number 1. This is the Intuitive Night Goddess Tarot that I'll be drawing from for your reading. And the witch card is equivalent to the Magician in the traditional tarot. Okay, so you'll be pile number 2. if you are drawn to this beautiful azurite crystal here, you can see that, whoops, very sort of royal blue with gold flecks. There we go, very powerful stone. Or the High Priestess card from the Crystal Magic Tarot, you will be pile number 3. Okay. And if you are drawn to the Hermit diamond crystal, it's a little bit hard to see because it's so clear, but let's try. If I can get the camera to focus. There we go. And the Hermit card, this is the Modern Goddesses Tarot, you will be pile number 4. Okay, my love, so pause the video if you need a little bit more time to tune into your intuition and see which pile is drawing you in. And just trust that whichever one is calling you, that will be the message for you for today. Never force anything to fit. Note that you have free will and a reading is never cut and dry as to anything related to your future. You are co-creating your future with the universe. Okay, my loves, I will see you in your pile. Hi there, pile number 1. Welcome to your reading. I just noticed on the time clock it started at the time of 11:11, which is very satisfying. So very in alignment here already. Good energy to start with. Okay, so we have got Adelita of Fire KN for your reading. So straight off the bat, the energy that I get from you, pile number 1, in terms of like what you need to do to set your inner witch free, I feel like for you, you have a sort of herbalist wisdom within you, or you're very good with like medicine, herbal medicine, plants, the energy of plants, like maybe aromatherapy or like plant essence therapy, or even crystals, or any kind of like things from the earth. Even like holistic cooking could be something. Yeah, traditional herbalism, medical herbalism, foraging, medicine, anything kind of like that. That's the kind of the energy that I'm getting from you. You may have done this in a past life. You may have been a sort of medicine woman or man. You might have been a like curandera or something. You may have been someone who held quite a position of esteem in your community, giving remedies of some sort, like folk remedies of some sort, something along those lines, something where you were using the plants or the resources that you had in nature around you that were available to you to like craft and create your own medicine for people. So if that kind of resonates, then that's the sort of energy that we're going to be looking into. Don't worry if it doesn't. It may be that you have to try a couple of different piles, because especially with things that, you know, this could be something that's been repressed in you. This could be something from a past life, and this energy hasn't fully awoken in you yet. So you may just only have some of you may only have a tiny inkling of this energy. Others of you will be already practicing this work and be like, oh yeah, like I know that I'm already making my own medicine. Or maybe like you don't necessarily do it for your career, but you might do it for your, you know, at home for friends or for yourself, or you've just started finding yourself learning more and more about plants and things like that, getting more and more interested in like more holistic medicine or something along those lines. So let's have a look at your oracle cards. We have got Cone of Power, card number 34, energy. We have got Cannabis, card number 31, with detachment. Beautiful. We have got card number 4, Yamaya, Mother of All, with divine care. Beautiful. And we have got Brilliance. Gorgeous. Okay, and then I've already pre-pulled some tarot cards for you, which I will come back to in a moment, and we'll lay those out underneath and go into some additional messages. But just to begin with, I feel like for you, pile number 1, you are very, very powerful. I feel like you were someone who, in your past life, you were like a pillar of support for your community, is what I'm getting. You like really, really radiated here. There's a lot of like sun, that's like sort of sun energy that's shining around the outside of this like cone, and it's also got all the elements here. We've got like fire, water, earth, and air, symbolized by these four symbols, which is very much that sort of magician energy of being able to be an alchemist, right? Like being able to turn, you know, raw materials into something else that's more beneficial for people. So I feel like you were a true alchemist. You were like, maybe, yeah, definitely did something possibly like making things like pharmaceutical, almost, is what I'm hearing. Like, it probably wasn't called that then, but like, you know, like I say, making medicines, doing something alchemical, doing something that's turning something like from a base material or a natural resource into something that was like a kind of almost like a nectar, is what I'm getting. So very like healing, nectars, like healing. So this could be, yeah, like kind of very high level, like plant essences or something that really worked on a very deep cellular level, like an emotional healing level or a spiritual healing level. So it may not necessarily have been just like physical health you were helping your community or society with. It might have been like bigger things, like more sort of almost like mental health things, or you know, helping people shift states, like even helping with, you know, doing like microdosing or something of like very powerful kind of, what are they called? Like where it makes your, it kind of, those sort of drugs, like hallucinatory drugs, or something like that, that like can sometimes help access like repressed memories and things, or like helps with anxiety because it can kind of bring things to the surface. So like, yeah, kind of like someone who was very good with, I'm just seeing someone like crushing lots of tablets and pills and like little like mortar and pestles and things like that. So definitely like making some kind of medicines, making some kind of like dosages of things that were healing to people. But I do feel like you were very, very smart with like understanding, you know, chemistry and biology and nature and plants and plant medicine, and how combining different things and alchemizing different things together, you could create like something even bigger, something even more powerful that you could draw on to help, or people could take to help heal themselves. I feel like you did hold quite a strong position of power in your community. I'm seeing this kind of cone here, like a sort of witch's hat, like you were perhaps like a traditional witch, and this might have been something you may have been persecuted for, which may be why, if you've been drawn to this reading, it may be that you have some blocks in this area now, or accessing this power now, because you may have been persecuted as part of possibly the witch hunts, depending on when it was that you lived this lifetime. Some of you might already know about this lifetime. You might already have access to this. I'm picking up on one or two of you maybe who are like, yeah, absolutely, I've done past life regression, or I've done all of that. I know that I was definitely a witch in my past life. I was definitely a medicine woman or a healer or medicine man. Others of you may not be aware of this, so this may be just to warn you. This could be not necessarily, I don't want to say triggering, not so much that it will trigger you in a bad way. It might just like awaken some memories potentially of that time where you had that power, you held that role, that like pillar of support and that power in your community. And it might be something that might start to awaken again in you, and as it awakens, it might sort of push out some of the suppression or any kind of like persecution that you then suffered as a result of like holding that power at the time. I definitely feel like with that kind of sun that's shining around, like you were absolutely radiant in this role, like you were just really shining your light for a period of time. And then I do feel like with this cannabis detachment here, there was something that came in that then has caused you to like disassociate from your body wisdom kind of thing, or disassociate from your body, kind of detach from your body, because the pain of whatever the persecution was, or whatever the however you were persecuted or however you were suppressed. And I'm just picking up on with these two cards, the vibe I'm getting is that you might have been very much part of the witch hunts, possibly in the UK and Europe, but it doesn't have to be. It could be anywhere in the world. But one of the things that they did during the witch hunts was to drown witches. And the idea was, if they if they drowned, then it showed that they were a witch. But if they didn't drown, then no, I think it was the other way around. If they drowned, it shows they weren't a witch, but if they didn't drown, it shows that they were a witch. So then they got killed, they got persecuted for being a witch. So it was like literally like damned if you do, damned if you don't, because you were gonna either drown naturally or you were then just going to be persecuted for being a witch. So it's like you literally can't win. And I'm getting with that Umaya and being underwater, I just picked up on, I kind of felt here with this detachment, possibly what happened was one of your in one of your past lives, or one of the persecutions you might have suffered was a drowning during the witch hunt. It won't be for all of you. Again, it's a general reading, so some of you may not have gone through that at all. Certainly you might know if now in your present life you have a fear of water. That could be a sign that you might have drowned in a past life or been drowned. Or also if you find that in this lifetime you possibly use substances like possibly weed or cannabis or something like that to help you kind of be like detached from your body, because maybe you have quite a lot stored in your pain body from a lot of these accumulative experiences. And again, this could be like, even if you haven't had this necessarily in a past life, this might be reflected in your current life where, I don't know, maybe even in childhood, in your teenage years or in your 20s or something, you spoke about things in some way, or you tried to go down some kind of natural medicine route, for example, or learn about this stuff, or you, as a child, you would just start speaking about these types of things and it got really shut down. Like you got either ridiculed, you got, like really harshly spoken to. I'm also picking up someone being like, just full on verbally abused, told like we don't use that stuff here or something. Like maybe some of you tried to use, I don't know, like natural medicine, and you were at a course, maybe you were doing science at school, or maybe you've ended up going to medical school, then you've tried using natural things and then you've just been like practically like barred from your course or something horrible like that. Or maybe as a child you would learn about this stuff or speak about it and it angered people around you or confronted them or triggered them in some way, and it was really like you got quite abused for it is what I'm getting, or ridiculed, or I'm seeing someone getting like the strap. So this could be, hopefully this isn't recent and this is like a long time ago, maybe even in a past life, or like you're a bit older, because hopefully the strap has been well outlawed by now and has been for, I'm pretty sure, a long time. I know from my childhood growing up in the 80s and 90s, it was not lawful to do that, I believe, in pretty much all countries as far as I'm aware, but certainly there might be some places. So I'm seeing someone possibly getting beaten for like, I don't know what exactly it was, but you might have spoken about, maybe you still had an awareness of these past lives, or you were really connected with that witchy side of yourself. You might have been into the occult, or things like you were just a little bit different as a kid, and you just spoke about things, or you might have grown up in an environment where you used, like natural medicine or natural stimulants or natural healing remedies or something, folk remedies, things like that. Maybe you made a lot of things from scratch, and then you got really ridiculed at school or something. So I'm kind of picking up a few different things. Some of you have had this possibly in this lifetime. Some of you, this is more from a past lifetime. But whatever it was that happened, possibly now in this life, you might find that you end up needing to detach from your pain body quite a lot. Like you find that you're drawn towards things that help you kind of get out of it, is what I'm feeling, like get out of the body. We can see this person, hopefully you can see if I hold it up to the camera, there's like, this is the person's physical body, and then it's like their astral body is like, going kind of out of it. This can speak of astral travel. So some of you, that might be a useful way to connect with this witch part of yourself. you can actually astral travel back to that time. Definitely make sure you do this safely and you ask for protection, like from your higher self and from your guides and everything to do this. And yeah, look up how to do it safely and everything. But you know, if you're drawn to that, it might be that astral traveling is a helpful way to reconnect with this power of yours, this path that you once held in the community. Because again, I feel like you had a lot of power to care for your community with that Yemaya and mother and divine care. It's like I feel like you were a medicine woman. So even if it doesn't matter how you identify now, in this day and age, you were quite possibly a medicine woman, or you just had a very feminine energy in a past life where you were kind of that, like it's like a very motherly, maternal, nurturing kind of energy that I get. Very powerful though, but like, you know, you cared for your whole tribe, you cared for your whole community, you cared for all of society, that everyone knew to come to you for, like, you know, the healing, for the sort of medicine, for the herbs, for wisdom in that, you know, in that realm. I'm just seeing people bring like their children to you. So if any of their children were sick, like you were the one that they would go to and you would help heal them. You had a very caring and nurturing energy, and you may still have that to this day. That may be something that you are often described as. You may be a water sign, so Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, but you don't have to be, but you may have one of those signs really strong in your chart. With the Yemaya and the sea here, you know, especially Cancer, I'm picking up strong Cancer vibes from someone, but definitely just that general, and also with the moon as well. The Cancer's ruled by the moon, so that's another sign. You could be Cancer, but you just have that energy within you where you can really connect with people. You can really like help heal them, you can help nurture them, you can see immediately what's wrong. Also, like, you may have been a healer in terms of emotional support as well, like given kind of spiritual guidance and things. And if that's the case, it may be that one of the other piles you are drawn to as well, because there's more related to that sort of part, those sort of paths, and some of the other piles. But I feel more for you, pile one, that this was more related to like plants and healing and like physical and mental health, but using resources from the natural world, or, you know, using things to help comfort, you know, to provide comfort in the time of like things like flus, or I'm hearing even like cholera. So some of you might have had a past life during the time of cholera, which is quite intense. So there's a movie about cholera, but I can't think of the title. Something about, no, actually it was a book, I think, first, and then it's been made into a film. But anyway, you might know of it, so feel free to look that up. But I feel like this is an area that you were absolutely brilliant in, and it's an area that you could be brilliant in to this day. If you're not already, it may be that you're already totally on this path and you're training in this, or you're already practicing it, or this is like, you completely know this is your life purpose, and that's amazing. And this is just confirmation that you are going to be brilliant, or you are brilliant already, and this is how you are going to shine your light. But I feel like for some of you, it's kind of just waking up in you. It's like there's this kind of light that's coming out from the head that's just sort of starting. It's like a dawn is what I'm getting, like a new dawn that's starting to spread. And I think with that cone of power, it's like this was something that sort of bright yellow energy was super powerful back in the time before it was deemed, you know, a terrible thing to be, you know, a wise woman or a healer or a community healer or a wise man or whatever. You know, there was a time when you were just able to be free and be powerful and be out in the community and doing all this stuff really freely. And then you went through this suppression, and maybe, like I said, you got persecuted in some way, either in your past life or your current life. You maybe are in a stage, or you went through a stage in the past where you ended up disassociating from your body and your body's wisdom to kind of numb that pain a little bit, or not face that pain of any of that persecution, any of those memories that might have been stored in your cellular body. But this is something that's waking up in you now, and there's like this brilliance that's kind of waiting to burst forth from you. It's like, I feel like this bit of sun is kind of already starting to dawn, but like soon if you keep going along this path, if it's something you feel called to do, and of course you have free will and you don't have to embrace this part of you whatsoever. This can just be something you can acknowledge, and you can just have it within you and know that it's there, and use it perhaps in your personal life maybe, but not necessarily use it in a career. It doesn't have to be that for everyone. But if you did choose to go down that path, then I feel like that light, that brilliance, that radiance would just expand, and your power would just really, really grow. You definitely have that like very strong, like maternal power to heal and care for your community. So let's get into the tarot portion of your reading. So we have got beautiful card number 2, the High Priestess Mugwort. So that goes under there. Just move these back a wee bit so we can fit everything in. Okay, we have got 10 of Fire Comfrey, which is 10 of Wands in traditional tarot. We've got 4 of Earth, which is 4 of Pentacles. We have got Curandera of Fire, Damiana. And Curanderas are equivalent to King, so this is like King of Wands. And last but not least, we've got Madre of Fire. So we've got the King and the Queen of Wands. Beautiful energy to finish off. And I feel like, yeah, you've got 2 cards speaking about mothers, literally, because we've got Mother of All and then Madre, which means mother. Mother of Fire, Mother of Wands, Queen of Wands. So big mother energy here for you guys. You may be a mother in this lifetime already. You may already embody that energy really strongly, or just you have that way with people, right? Like you're just the sort of the mum friend of the group, or you're just the one that, like, you know, you might be in a position. I'm kind of seeing someone being like a counselor, or like a pastoral care worker, or you receive clients in some way, like maybe you do, like you're a naturopath or something like that, and you have people come in and you're just really nurturing to them, and you provide this beautiful, caring, nurturing environment for them to like come in, and you listen to all their problems, and you listen to their life story and everything, and then you help give them little doses of medicine. So homeopathy is another one I'm picking up. Some of you might have been drawn to homeopathy, you might have had homeopathy, or it might be something that, again, you might feel more drawn towards learning about in the future. Yeah, especially with that little that wee glass, I don't know what that's called, the wee glass bottle, I guess, with that looks like the little kind of sugar tablets that you get in homeopathic remedies, or the little, I don't know exactly what they are, but the wee tablets you get, the wee homeopathic tablets you get. So yeah, I feel like you very much, this is kind of where things are moving towards, this kind of becoming ultimately this maternal energy again, where you are kind of graduating from being Adelita, which this is equivalent to Knight of Wands, I think I mentioned at the beginning. So you're graduating from the Knight up through to like the King and Queen, like really stepping into your sovereignty with this in some way. And like I say, this doesn't have to be what you do as your paid job. This could be something you just do within your community, or for yourself and your friends, or for your family, or something, your immediate family or wider family. But I feel like, because we've got the Curandera of Fire, which is equivalent to like the King of Fire or King of Wands, I feel like there's going to be a time, there's going to be a point where you sort of blend the kind of masculine and the feminine together, if you like. You blend the sort of the masculine, setting their foundation, putting things in place, setting up that structure, whether it's qualifying in some formal avenue of herbal medicine, or, like I said, homeopathy, aromatherapy, plant essence, anything along those lines, using natural resources. You could be like a crystal therapist, anything like that, anything that's using things from the natural world, alchemizing things in some way, and then, providing healing. Again, this could be counseling as well, even, because you could be an alchemist in the sense that you help take people from, their darkness through to, alchemizing that pain into power, right? We've got Cone of Power. That could be something that you provide empowerment for people. You provide nurturing for people. And so you may not necessarily give them, medicine. So you could be a psychotherapist, so you may take people through therapy, and then you may give them certain doses of medication or something as part of your therapy. I don't feel as much like many of you are going down the formal Western medicine route, though you may be, and it may be that you were trained in that originally. And again, that's where you're kind of blending those two things. Like you're maybe blending traditional medicine. And again, this is not to knock anything about traditional medicine. I think traditional medicine is great, and it certainly has its power, and it certainly has things that are, very useful and important. Like if your leg gets chopped off, it's great to be able to go to the hospital and there's someone there who can sew it back on, which is brilliant for acute stuff and things like that. But I feel like sometimes there's other avenues like herbal medicine and things like that that are really good for, or can potentially be really powerful and really useful for chronic conditions. And so maybe for some of you, you've had some training in a more traditional side of things, perhaps more like masculine, for want of a better word, like kind of traditional medicine or something, and you're blending what you know from the sort of scientific side or the Western medicine side with the like holistic side, holistic medicine, herbal medicine, plant medicine, things like that, and creating a whole new thing. Like I said, some of you are doing some kind of alchemy here, so you're taking two different things and then you're alchemizing them to create something new, to create something better, to really create something powerful for people. So there could well be this kind of balancing of this like masculine and feminine energy with the King of Wands and Queen of Wands. It's like you're blending both of them together. And we've got this little pot here, which again, this is, as I mentioned, if you listen to the intro from Hekate, these little cauldrons are a symbol of Hekate. So for those of you that might have been seeing these, or you feel really connected to this, that's another sign from Hekate. But yeah, there's a lot of fire energy, I feel like, with that kind of cone of power and all this like sun here and the sun kind of coming out here. And then we've got King and Queen of Wands. I feel like this is something that, this is a pathway that is going to give you a lot of power. It's a lot of like spiritual power and responsibility. Wands are to do with like, spirit, having that kind of zest, that passion, that spiritual energy, that spiritual prestige, or like, that's maybe not the right word. What's the word I'm searching for? Like spiritual kind of magnetism, I guess is the word. Like again, we've got that cone of power. Like you are like this sort of magnetic being where people kind of feel drawn to you for healing because you just possess that energy already. With the Four of Pentacles coming out under detachment here, I feel like this is to do with a process of kind of reweaving yourself back together. We've got the Four of Earth Willow, where it's taking all these like strands of willow tree and like weaving them into a basket. And I feel like it's kind of coming back to what I was saying about the King and Queen of Wands, and maybe weaving traditional medicine stuff with, more holistic medicine stuff, or weaving facets that have come up for you from your past lives with facets from your current life now, or whatever it might be. It's like weaving all these different facets of your life together and learning how to like re-embody yourself, like sort of re-find your power again, so that you're not kind of pulled in lots of different directions, or have like all these different strands of different things that you could do kind of just all over the place. It's like, I feel like you're going to go through this period where you start to really like bring things back together, re-embody yourself, especially for those of you that might have been going through a period of disassociation from your body because of your, what's stored in your trauma body or in your pain body. Especially if you've been using substances to do that. And it's not to knock anyone who's been doing that or anything like that. It's just saying that it might be that as this starts to awaken in you, you start to find that you don't want to disassociate as much, because you start to realize that there's power in that pain body, that there's power stored where there were those traumas that are stored in the body, that there's a necessity to kind of like return back into the body, to re-embody the self, to kind of weave yourself back together, because I feel like these are all fragmented bits of yourself that have all like kind of split off, and then you've like gathered them all together, and then now you're weaving them all back together. You're like coming back into yourself, because Four of Pentacles is the energy of the Four of Pentacles is to do with like conserving, is to do with like honing your energy, pulling back, bringing things, like holding on to things. You know, it can be to do with suppression. So this could speak of also the pain of where you were very suppressed as a child, maybe. So there might be some inner child healing that needs to take place, because maybe you had a lot of your voice suppressed, or a lot of your like healing abilities kind of suppressed in some way. But I feel like this is kind of more to do with like, more generally speaking, more spiritually speaking, as time's gone on, you've maybe your energy's gotten a bit split or a bit fragmented, and it's about like you're going to go through this phase where you kind of bring it all back together, and like sort of weave all these different strands of things you've been learning about. I feel like many of you have many different talents in this area. It's like you're not just necessarily, you know, just a traditional herbalist, or just a traditional aromatherapist, or whatever, you know, like one thing. I feel like you know about lots of different things, and that's because maybe you've had lots of different past lives in all different sort of healing modalities, or you're just a very curious, passionate person, and you've been just delving many years into learning loads and loads of different things about lots of different modalities, including traditional ones, lots of different things about plants. And now it's getting to the point where you're like, yeah, you're creating those foundations, and you're excuse me, you're weaving things together. With the 10 of Wands, it's like the 10 is the number of ending and of a cycle ending. So things coming to like a completion, everything wrapping up, things ending, and then beginning again, ready for a new beginning. And I'm just being drawn to, they're drawing my eye to this bit up here with all these medicines. And I feel like this is kind of saying like, okay, come on, you know about all these, you know about so much, Power One. You are so like, wisdomous? That's not even a word. Wise? You're so wise. Where did I get wisdomous from? My goodness. Sometimes when I'm channeling, the funniest words come through. Anyway, you are so wise, and you have so much wisdom about all these different plants and all these different types of medicine, and maybe different types of food that's healing, and like you're good at so many different things. And it's like time to kind of like, yeah, weave all these things together, step into your power with the King and Queen of Wands. Like, finish, if you have been doing training and you've been dragging your feet a little bit on it, maybe like finish that training, just get to the end. Because 10 of Wands is about, you know, it's like you've been carrying a burden of like all this stuff. Usually it shows someone struggling with it going up a mountain, right? And it's like you're nearly at the end. Like you're nearly at the end. You're nearly at the point where you can be in power again, and you can have that position of power in your community. But there's maybe just a little bit of like either working through some of this disassociation stuff, working through some past life traumas that may be still stored in the body, working through some throat chakra blocks, working through some suppression of this power, of this wisdom, of this knowledge that you know so much about, and you've been accumulating and learning and gorging on learning, and like you're practically bursting, right? It's like this is you, you're this cone, all this gold is like bursting out of you. All this wisdom is gold. This knowledge, this plant knowledge and this medicine knowledge that you have is absolutely gold. It's golden. And it's like you're nearly at the end of getting to a point where you can just be fully in your power again, and just, you know, and some of you might already be at that stage. You might be like, yeah, I'm already doing this. Like I'm already a herbalist or something. And in that case, it's kind of like, what's the next stage for you? What's the, you know, you're going through the ending of a cycle so that you can, you know, come into your power even more strongly. So if you're already doing it, maybe the next stage is then educating people about this, because you've got so much knowledge. Maybe it's like running courses on this yourself, right? Because with the High Priestess here, and we've gone full circle now, coming back to the High Priestess is all about that intuitive wisdom, that intuitive knowledge, being the like priestess with that like cone of power. You know, the priestess is it's like the equivalent to the witch. Like they have this hat, or they have this like cone energy that is like receiving wisdom from above and channeling it down. That's what a priestess does. You know, it's like receiving the wisdom, receiving the intuition, getting the intuitive downloads, and then being able to like spread that energy out into the community. You know, back in the like ancient ages, women, when they were menstruating, they would be taken off to a red tent, and it was seen that particularly some of the older women, before the point that stops, they would receive these visions, these downloads, these like wise, well, yeah, wisdom essentially from the, I guess, the goddesses, the guiding gods, whatever, whoever they were, you know, the universe, whatever they believed in. They received the wisdom that was needed for their community at that time to help heal the community and whatever things were going on. So if there was like, I don't know, maybe an outbreak of plague or something, they would receive, the women were taken off, and during that time when their connection to the moon, and I spoke about the moon earlier because we've got that Yemaya mother with this full moon here. So they had that connection with the moon that would awaken that power to come through, that energy, that wisdom to come through, and they could then be this priestess and then like go out and like share that wisdom with their wider community. And I think that some of you may already be doing this, or this is something that you're stepping into, this brilliance. This is you at your full soul brilliance. This is what your soul is here to do in this lifetime, should you choose to do it. But like I said, you've all got free will, and this might not be something that awakens in you until either later, or you might just do it in a different form, like within your family or something like that. But if you are open to it, this is like you have the ability to be this like high priestess of like natural healing with plants, something like that, but possibly creating a whole new form of healing, a whole new form of plant medicine that's, like I said, weaving together lots of different things. So I'm going to I'm going to finish with a daily rituals card, which I left the box over here. So let me get these out to help. Let's ask, like, what daily ritual will help pile number 1 set their inner witch free? What daily ritual will help pile 1 set their inner witch free? What daily ritual will help pile 1 set their inner witch free? Woo! Yeah, divine feminine. Beautiful. Yeah, high priestess. Exactly. Your high priestesses of wisdom, of knowledge, of healing. Yeah, mother of all. Exactly. You're connected with that like earth mother energy, right? Divine feminine. I honor and nurture the divine feminine within me. This is all about, and also look at this, she's like out in nature connecting with plants and flowers, and she's wearing a floral dress, and she's got the full moon behind her. So yeah, definitely connecting with that nurturing side of yourself, nurturing that inner wisdom, your intuition, listening to your intuition, listening to where it's guiding you. And I feel like most of you who are listening to this pile, you already know this, and you're already doing this, and this is purely just confirmation of something you already know, and to keep doing it because you are absolutely brilliant, and you are going to be brilliant, even more brilliant than you already are. Yeah, I just think like this is just you. This is your energy. This Madre of Fire with the thyme. So thyme could be a really powerful flower essence or essential oil for you at the moment, possibly. That might help. I just got that through that, like, yeah, something related to thyme specifically. But definitely connecting with your divine feminine, connecting with, yeah, your inner goddess, connecting with your intuition, allowing yourself the time to listen to that and honor it and nurture it. That will be the key towards shifting and like weaving all these facets, all these strands, all these different healing modalities, or different tools, different plants, different types of medicine, different strands of medicine. Again, it could be like different forms of counseling, you know, if that's what the type of healing you're doing. But yeah, different strands together and then stepping into your power and offering them in the world in a bigger way. Okay, my lovely Pannable ones, I'm going to leave your reading there. I really hope this resonated. Don't forget to leave a comment below if it did. I really love to hear from you. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the reading. It helps tell me what content you're enjoying, and it helps tell the YouTube algorithm to send my content around, and it helps my little baby channel to grow. Also hit the subscribe button if you want to see more readings, and the notification bell so you'll be notified when I next upload. Thank you so much for being here. I've so enjoyed reading for you today. All the best with setting your inner witch free, and I will see you in the next reading. Bye. Hi there, pile number 2. If you chose the appropriately named The Witch card and the citrine crystal, then this will be your reading on It's Safe to Speak, Set Your Inner Witch Free. Okay, so straight off the bat, pile number 2, I get the vibe that you guys are sort of, I feel like a kind of green witch energy coming through, or maybe even like a house or kitchen witch kind of energy. I'm sort of getting this vibe of you're very connected with the earth and plants and like nature. Like you might be really into gardening, you might have a garden of your own, you might be really connected with flowers or flower essences. You might make a lot of this kind of stuff, just not so much as a job necessarily, although you might, but I feel like more just naturally, just in your own time, you're kind of quite drawn towards using natural products, using very like eco-friendly products, using, you know, like things like sort of lavender. I've got a lavender candle burning here actually, so like lavender, essential oils, things like that, connecting with the earth, connecting with nature a lot, going for like forest walks or like barefoot, like earthing. You can see this witch is like barefoot here, so like I feel like you love earthing and connecting with the energy of the earth, connecting with like the elementals. Maybe some of you use crystals and things, but I feel like it's kind of more like sort of actual I mean, crystals are formed in the earth, but it's kind of more like things like plants and yeah, kind of gardening, maybe cooking, like using ingredients from the earth, or growing a garden, doing some kind of garden, or connecting with like the magic of plants and all the like kind of meanings that those plants have, and like then using them in like possibly spell work, because with this particular witch card, it's definitely kind of giving me vibes of like a witch who uses sort of elements from the natural world to then craft their own like spells, or in like magical rituals, or to then manifest things for themselves, because she's got this like huge wand here of power that she's like, it's kind of that as above so below, you know, so it's kind of like channeling that energy like from the earth to the heavens, and from the heavens back into the earth. She's got this sword of air, so she's got the power of air, power of like thoughts and intentions. The cup here, which is like the you know, the emotions, the creativity, the intuition, and then like she's got her foot on top of or she's got her knee rather towards this pentacle, which is like something she's wanting to kind of bring into her life, like bringing things into the physical form. So some of you might do kind of some kind of crafting, or this might be something that you did in a past life and you possibly might have been persecuted for it, though not necessarily, but this might have just been something that got suppressed somewhere along the way, or got forgotten, or because of the just general witch hunts or general kind of overall societal suppression of these types of ways of manifesting, especially because I mean there's a lot of manifesting stuff coming out now, and a lot more stuff about this kind of thing, but you know, for a very long time it was quite driven underground or quite suppressed. Of course, a lot of it kind of continued in little silos here and there. Like I say, there was kind of ways that all these things got, you know, carried on underground. Like even the Rider-Waite-Smith traditional tarot deck, there's loads of symbols of various occult things that are all like kind of hidden, embedded in the deck, so that it could continue through like patriarchal times. But anyway, that's a whole other story for another day. The point is that like possibly this power within you, or this ability to connect with these things, is something that's a little bit latent, or something that isn't fully expressed in you yet. For some of you it might be. Some of you, if you're drawn to this part, might be like, yeah, like I'm totally aware to totally identify as that, like completely. You might identify as like pagan or Wiccan, or practice witchcraft, or practice spells, or practice manifesting. Even like you might not think of it as any kind of witch thing. You might just be like, yeah, I do manifesting, like I'm trying to manifest things, I'm trying to like, you know, set my thoughts, my intentions connect with my higher self, bring things down into the physical plane. I'm trying to manifest more abundance for myself. I'm trying to ground my ideas into the physical, anything like that. That is kind of witch power in a sense. Like, you don't have to identify as a witch necessarily or label anything as such, but just doing these kinds of manifesting things. And like I said, all this stuff is like way more available now. It's way more out there. It's way more accessible. There's so much stuff around manifesting. So you might be quite a powerful manifester, but I feel like you do it in a really like in a sort of like tactile way is what I'm getting. Like you make little things, like I'm seeing someone doing like little rituals with possibly petals or something. Like we've got all these roses here, so maybe some of you make like flower essences or essential oils, or you use those when you do manifesting things, or like you use sort of the elements, like you do like candle gazing and you do manifesting with candles, or like writing intentions and then burning them, on the full moon or something, but with your candles or with a fire outside. Or you go out into nature and you write an intention for something you want to manifest and you throw it in the water, or you plant it in the earth. Or I'm seeing a lot of like rituals and physical things where you're using elements from nature to kind of like manifest things in your life, or balance things in your life as well. It could be that you've just maybe some of you, I'm getting environment is a very important thing for you, like the environment that you're in, making sure that you're around nature, or making sure that you have access to the right things to be able to work with. Like maybe you didn't have that growing up, or maybe you're in an environment now where you can't freely express that side of yourself, and that's causing quite a bit of difficulty. We'll get into more when we look at your oracle cards, but I feel like it's really, really important that you're like planted in the right environment. It's like you're rooted in the right place, so that you can like really draw your power up like from the earth, because you've like fully planted your energy. So maybe some root chakra healing for some of you might be something to look into. So let's get into your oracle cards. So first up, we have broomstick with cleansing, card number 17. We have got card number 53, dandelion with wounded healer. I'm just going to pull all the oracle cards and then I'll look at the messages overall. We've got rediscovery here. Beautiful. I love the artwork on this card. It's gorgeous. It's a cute little goddess energy inside this little girl. It's so sweet. And we have weaver of the web of life, card number 8 with cooperation from the Wild Woman Oracle. Beautiful. Okay, and then we'll go into, we've got some tarot cards and a couple of green wedge oracle cards to finish off with, which we'll come back to in a moment. So yeah, I feel like with this broomstick and cleansing, I'm picking up a couple of different things. For some of you, this is quite literal in the sense that you might identify as like a house witch, or you might be someone who works from home and does a lot of like cleaning, or you might even do cleaning for a job. So it's like literally cleansing, literally doing something that's involving cleaning an environment, making sure that, your environment is really beautiful, making sure that like, you're energy clearing a lot, or you're like, clearing the space, you're making sure that it's, there's not like toxic energy around you, or like I'm kind of seeing someone in a cottage kind of with like, they can go out into nature and they can like clear their energy, they can cleanse their energy by being able to get out into nature, by being able to connect with their garden, being able to go for like forest walks. I'm seeing with this like gum tree here. Some of you might have a forest with these kind of, I think it's gum tree, something like that. Where you, some kind of forest, it doesn't really matter which, but like you can go out into nature and like connect with the trees, and you can pick up like wisdom, you can like cleanse your aura, you can cleanse your energy, and just kind of balance yourself, like balance your energies, because we've got this kind of sun and moon energy here, so balance your like feminine and masculine energies a bit. I'm also kind of getting hedge witch vibes as well with this like riding on the broomstick thing. So some of you might identify as that. But otherwise, I'm also getting with the wounded healer, the rediscovery with this sort of like little child here, and cleansing. I feel like for some of you, part of this process of like setting your inner witch free, or finding the courage to speak your truth more powerfully perhaps in your life, is going through a period of cleansing, like emotional cleansing, emotional purging, connecting with your inner child, connecting with any childhood wounds that you might have that you might have sustained, especially around this, around your like your own power to manifest what you want in your life, and your own power to like ground your own ideas into being and like receive for them. There's something around grounding, like connecting with the earth, being able to receive nourishment from the earth, being able to like, it's like sort of self-esteem, self-value, self-worth, receiving like reciprocal value back for like what you're kind of grounding in. Because I feel like maybe for some of you, you might have had some wounds in childhood around this area. It's like with this little child here, she's got this wee goddess kind of locked. It's like locked in this little box, and it's kind of around her. It's a little bit above her heart chakra, kind of around her throat chakra actually. So yeah, throat chakra blocks might be another thing for you. But it's like you had this intuitive energy, this divine feminine energy, or this powerful, yeah, kind of witch energy for want of a better word, or like goddess energy within you. And that might have been something that if you ever tried to speak about that as a child or tried to express yourself, that got blocked or suppressed or shut down, or you were gaslit not to believe that part of yourself or something like that. And so there's this theme of cleansing, healing those wounds, rediscovering your inner child, rediscovering like your true nature again, your true essence, rediscovering your inner goddess self, this inner wise self that's within you, that's always been within you. And I feel like your inner child was really connected with that side of you, but maybe over time through whatever it was, whether it was family of origin or your schooling or religion or the wider society, media, whatever it might be, that bit got like locked and sort of like made inaccessible. It's still there, it's just kind of somewhat suppressed. And so I feel like that's why this wounded healer is here, because there's some kind of healing to be done around that, any kind of childhood wounds around that sort of part of you. With this dandelion here, this is like coming back to what I was saying about environment, where like dandelions can kind of literally grow anywhere. Like you can see them growing up through like concrete and stuff. Sometimes it's kind of crazy. Like they are so strong and so resilient, and they just, you know, it doesn't matter kind of what happens to them, they'll just kind of spring back. And I feel like that's symbolic of your energy, in the sense that like no matter what wounds you sustained or how suppressed you were in your childhood, when you can replant yourself in a new environment, you can grow out of anything. Like you can grow from that pain. And not only can you grow from that pain, but you can use that pain for your power. Like you can alchemize that pain and like really use it to like, yeah, really step into your full power. I feel like that's what this rediscovery period is going to be, if you're open towards doing a process of like inner child healing, rediscovering things that you maybe used to love as a child. Maybe you might find that you used to go out into nature a lot as a kid. You used to love like spending time in your garden. Like maybe one of your parents or grandparents or something gardened, and you're like, oh yeah, like I used to love spending time in the garden, and now I like live in a city and I can't connect with my roots, or I can't connect with that earth energy anymore, or I've got nowhere where I can get out into nature and like kind of clear my energy. And so you might be feeling more and more called towards like doing sort of green witchy type stuff, like yeah, gardening, connecting with the earth, getting out into nature, going for walks in nature, all those kind of things to help you rediscover that inner child part of you, to help you heal those energies, to help you like dig deep and access those kind of like resources within you. It's like as you're kind of, I'm seeing someone like it's like a process of like almost like gardening therapy. Like as you're like digging in the soil, it's like you're unearthing things like old weeds or things that are like old beliefs and stuff from childhood or teenage years, or even possibly from past lives. This may not even be something that your family of origin have like maliciously inflicted upon you, right? It could be something that like you had these types of beliefs already conditioned into you in a past life, and then you've come into this lifetime and chosen this family of origin to receive this same wounding in order to specifically heal that wound, to find that power and like, you know, really re-empower yourself in this particular lifetime. Like that is part of your path in this lifetime, is to be like a wounded healer. And then possibly, like, because with wounded healer, it's often that like the power is in the pain, right? In the sense that like whatever you've had to do to heal it, you'll often end up possibly working in that area in some way, shape or form, and then helping other people heal that wound, that type of wound or that type of wounding, or whatever you figure out how to heal, the process of healing, you then pass it on to others. So maybe this could look like, for some of you, doing something like, you know, I'm seeing someone do kind of counseling, but out in nature, like taking people for walks out in nature, and you help people connect with, like, you know, their inner selves, because by being in nature, again, they're sort of cleansed, their aura can be clearer, they can reconnect with their inner child more easily, things can come up more easily to be like healed and shifted. Or this could be like plant essences, right? Like plant essences can help heal a lot of like old wounds, emotional wounds, things like that. They can help shift emotional states or mental states or like old beliefs. So it could be a number of different things depending on what you've been feeling drawn towards, or you might notice yourself drawn towards more things as you go through this process. Or some of you will be at the end of this process and you've already done a lot of this stuff, and you're kind of more at this point, this weaver of the web of life with cooperation, where like you've got to the stage where you are just weaving together all these different facets, like all these different, you're taking all these different things from, you know, nature, from like natural resources around you, and weaving them together to form this, like perhaps a new healing modality. For example, like I said, someone coming up with something related to like a type of therapy or counseling in nature, like a sort of forest therapy, if you will, or like, you know, wild, I don't know, some kind of like wild women camps or wild people camping, where you take people out into nature and do a series of you know, wild activities to help them get used to being out in nature. And you know, as part of that whole process, there could be like, you know, therapy involved in it or something like that, you know, especially if, you know, it could be if you've had any sort of addictions, or you know, you might work with people who've had addictions or things like that from childhood wounds. Like maybe that, you know, you or these people you work with have had you know, parents who were addicts or something, and then, you know, that's part of that wound, and then you're doing a lot of cleansing, a lot of healing, yeah, and like really stepping into your power as this like healer, essentially. This is this card's got Chiron on it. So for those of you that are sort of new to this concept of the wounded healer, we all have the wounded healer within our birth chart. We all have Chiron, who's known as the wounded healer. He's the sign of the wounded healer, or sorry, the planet rather of the wounded healer. We all have that in our birth chart, so it could be really helpful to get your birth chart read either by a professional astrologist, or you can just look it up online and see where in your birth chart your Chiron falls, like which house and what other signs it's in, because that could be really useful to know, like kind of what field you might end up possibly feeling more and more drawn towards doing some kind of healing work around. I'm just seeing if there's anything else that's coming through about this card. Yeah, I'm just being drawn to these like dandelion and the rainbow as well. There's like rainbow energy. So rainbows are like, make me think of like after, you know, the rainbow comes after the rain. So again, that like cleansing, that purging, that emotional cleansing, that emotional purge that may need to happen in order for your rainbow to come about, and that like pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, because we had your crystal with citrine, which is a lot to do with like inner gold, like inner wealth, inner prosperity, resources, feeling abundant, you know, feeling like you can manifest things for your life, all of that kind of thing. So there's something around like getting to a point where through doing this purging, connecting with these wounds, releasing them, letting them go, you know, like with these little dandelion, you know, as the dandelions sort of die off and dry out, and then you can blow it and make a wish, and then all the little bits of dandelion leaves just go out into the atmosphere, kind of thing. And I feel like that's like your old wounds, like as you kind of purge them and release them, it's like you can just release them, and that's going to help you rediscover and connect with like your true self, your true essence, your true, like your inner child, and like eventually get to a point where you will feel, it's like, I don't know if you can see this spider, you will feel like this kind of spider in this web where you have the power to like magnetize things to you. Like you just build this web and things come to you. Like you're not kind of going out there seeking things. It's like you really realize that witch's mantra of like, as within, so without. Like as I feel within myself will be the experiences that I like gather into me, right? Like that I gather in my web, kind of thing. So let's have a look at your tarot cards. So we have got, this is the Intuitive Night Goddess Tarot. So we've got 5 of Cups under cleansing. Yeah, exactly. This is all about like emotional purging. Normally it shows up in the traditional tarot, it shows someone standing looking at 3 cups that have overspilled, and it means like, you know, upset, emotional disappointment, feeling hurt, feeling disappointed, essentially, feeling like a sense of loss, grieving, you know, feeling like you've invested in something, you've emotionally invested in something, and then, you know, something came along in life and knocked it over, and it's all the beautiful investment in those 3 cups, right? It's poured out. But the 5 of Cups talks about how there's 2 more cups that are remaining upright. So the key is to turn around and focus on these 2 cups that are upright, because that's where all your emotional fulfillment lies. You've still got 2 cups left. Like, don't focus on the things that haven't worked out, or the things you've had to purge and let go of, like the painful childhood and maybe teenage years and maybe your 20s as well, or 30s, or however old you are. But like, focus on the future, focus on, you know, what life you have got left to live. And I feel like it's interesting because you've got 2 cards with dandelions on them. We've got these literally the dandelion card here with Wounded Healer. And also I'm just being drawn to the fact that this says 53 on it. So this might be something that happens in your 50s. Literally, like you've got to go through a whole period of life before you can get to a point of being like officially sort of a healer in some form. It may not be. Some of you might be younger, and that's okay too. But it's just, it could be that kind of Chiron part of your chart may not wake up until you're maybe in your 50s. And that's when you step into a more powerful kind of healer role in this sense. And sorry, coming back to the dandelions, it's like you've got 2 cards with dandelions on them. And I feel like it's kind of saying, again, you've got this resilience within you. You've got this like beautiful sunny disposition, like the yellow on the dandelion. And it's like dandelions can grow everywhere. So even despite all this purging, all this loss, all these things that went wrong, all the grieving, all the pain, you know, it's like, it's still growing. You're still growing. You're still growing through all of that. It's like all of that was actually like, I know it doesn't feel like it at the time, but it was actually like growing you as a person. It was actually like that those painful things were kind of like fuel for you. They were like literally like feeding your garden so that you could just grow and grow and grow. And just, it's like dandelions just take over, you know, they're just everywhere, you know, they grow, like I said, they grow up through concrete. You could grow up through concrete. That's how strong you are. No matter what's happened to you, you're still here. You're still resilient. So yeah, you may be going through a bit of a, with that cleansing, you may be going through a bit of a, like a dark night of the soul the dark night of the soul phase of your spiritual awakening, where you're just purging a lot and you're just finding yourself getting in touch with that sensitive inner child, that sensitive inner intuition that might have got blocked or suppressed, or any wounds that might have been hidden from your conscious mind, or also any like past life stuff as well. So again, like, you know, if you were persecuted as a witch or something in a past life, you might find that a lot of that pain is being purged out, and you might not even know what it is, right? Like you could just be crying a lot or feeling upset a lot or feeling super sensitive a lot, but not really know exactly what it's connected to. And that's all just part of that cleansing phase. That's all just part of that healing that wound and like rediscovering yourself and stepping into eventually like being a wounded healer. Being like, once you've healed the wound yourself, you are then the healer. You then have that power. What else have we got here with your tarot? So next we've got, yes, exactly, Six of Swords. So this might be where you're at the moment, where you're on one side of the lake, so to speak, or one side of the canyon in this particular card. Normally in Six of Swords, it's a lake with someone on a boat and they're being rowed across. But in this particular case, it's a canyon. So, you know, pretty powerful energy. Canyons, right, often hold a lot of like potent energy in terms of like nature-wise. So this is you kind of pausing for a minute to contemplate your journey before you traverse this canyon and cross over to the other side. But it's always about that kind of like, you've gone through, you know, sort of perhaps like half to maybe even, well, I don't want to say a time period because it's going to be different for all of you, but you've gone through a fairly substantial portion of your life with feeling perhaps like a victim. I'm not saying like, oh my God, you've been in victim mode, like you've chosen to be in victim mode. I'm just saying you may have well been victimized by certain circumstances or suffered from certain, like, you know, been wounded in certain ways and gone through just a lot is what I'm picking up on for you, pile 2. I feel like all piles have gone through things. And of course with Chiron, this is in everybody's chart. This is not just you. Everyone in the world has a Chiron. So everybody has a wound that they have to heal as part of their path, as part of their journey as a soul on this earth during their lifetime. And you know, you can choose to not traverse the canyon and not go through that wound, like healing that wound. You can choose to stay, but the longer you stay back from it, it's like you're holding yourself back from your power. Right? Like you're holding yourself back from your true essence. You're holding yourself back from manifesting everything that you want. Because on the other side of the rainbow is the pot of gold. So on the other side of the canyon, on the other side of healing all these 6 swords of all the sort of battles you've been through, all the difficulties you've been through, is like, I don't want to say nirvana, but that's what's coming through. Like, I guess just a much better period for you. You know, Six of Swords is all about sailing to calmer waters, leaving a place that wasn't working, leaving both emotionally, but also could be physically. I did speak of some of you maybe needing to move, or your environment being very important for you, making sure you're near nature so that you can connect with nature energy to sort of heal yourself. So maybe this could talk about literally physically moving, but it's more to do with symbolically, like metaphorically or emotionally moving from a place that's stuck and feeling in despair, like the 5 of Cups, and feeling very difficult, feeling like, you know, you can't manifest anything you want, or you can't, like the universe is punishing you in some way or something like that, or because of your childhood you now aren't in a position to be able to get things that you thought you should, or something like that. But you know, you are moving to a much better life if you choose to, you know, and I feel like you are going to, your soul is going to lead you across that canyon kind of thing. And the process of walking across, that's the process of becoming like the wounded healer. It's the process of healing that wound and then becoming the healer kind of thing. So next we have meditation. Yeah, so under discovery. So I feel like this is saying like doing inner child healing meditations could be really helpful for you at this time. Just generally connecting with the process, a ritual, a practice of meditation could be really helpful to help you rediscover this intuition, this like inner child self, this inner goddess self, this inner higher self that's guiding you, that's going to guide you across this canyon, that's going to, you know, guide you towards healing. It's going to guide you towards also the process of becoming you know, a healer yourself, if that's something you want. You know, you have free will, you don't have to go down that path, but that's available to you. And you might well find that the process of healing ends up becoming so enjoyable and so empowering, and how you figure out how to sort of create that for yourself, that you can't help but want to share it with others in some way. You can't help but want to weave it all together into some new form of healing that you then offer to others. Next we have Seven of Pentacles. Yes, definitely. I feel like this is so beautiful. There's all these sunflowers here. So we've got a lot of like yellow flower energy. And that's all about kind of shining your light. And I feel like that is coming. Like Seven of Pentacles is like planting the seeds and waiting for them to grow. This could well be like, you know, literally becoming a green witch, in the sense that you get to a point where you have your own garden or have your own beautiful home, and it's really near nature, like a cottage in nature or in the forest, or just with enough space to grow your own garden, to grow your own flowers, so you can make your own flower essences, for example, or you can just connect with the magic of flowers just by walking in them. You know, it's just all about kind of planting those seeds and being patient and tending to them and trusting the process of nature, trusting the process of, like, you know, planting, watering, waiting for it to grow, letting the sun shine on it. You know, things growing, then, like, you know, autumn comes, the cycles, like things needing to die off or be pruned back, things dying down, and then like the whole process starts again. It's like very much being, you know, the witch is very, very connected with the cycles of nature, especially this witch energy from this deck, and the energy I'm picking up from your pile. You're very connected with nature and with the cycles of nature and the cycles of, like, you know, kind of the seasons and your own body, and like planting things and understanding how that works, and just more generally knowing this on a more say emotional level, like understanding the need to, like, you know, plant the seeds of healing, and that maybe this might take time. Like I said, for some of you this won't be until you're in your 50s, right, that you go through this. Also, I'm suddenly just being guided back to the number 17. So for some of you, this cleansing or this wound, or some of the wounding that might have happened to you, may have been around the age of 17, 16, 17, 18, something like that. So possibly teenage years. So maybe something, it wasn't even family so much, but like a friend group or something in school. Maybe you got into more witchy stuff and then you were outcast or something, or could be something like that. But that just suddenly came to mind when I was looking at that. But yeah, with the Seven of Pentacles, it's like you're growing, you're going to be growing into your light. It's like this person's wearing this beautiful gold dress here, and all these sunflowers, which is linked with the solar plexus chakra, which sits in your core, which is all about shining your core self out, your authentic self out into the world, like being able to shine your true light. And I feel like that is something that is coming to you. And the more that you, like, meditate and connect with your inner child and rediscover your inner child, the more you'll feel comfortable shining that true authentic self out in the world. Because I feel like there's some blocks around, like, who you really are. There's some blocks around your truth, because this reading is all about, it's safe to speak. And I feel like there was something around this little child. Oh, it's so sweet. This little child who tried to speak when you were a kid, maybe, or a teenager or something. You tried to speak up about, you know, what was important to you, or what had happened to you, or, you know, sort of green witch type related things or something like that, or maybe something traumatic happened and you tried to speak about it and it got silenced or something. And so there's something around, like, healing this so that you can fight, like, kind of regrow your power and step back into your power and shine your light again. So let's just move these over. So we've got Seven of Pentacles, and last we have Nine of Pentacles. Yeah, which I feel like really links with this weaver of the web of life really well, like, where you're just, like I said, you get to a point where you're this kind of spider in the middle of a web, just like magnetizing things in. Like, you don't have to go out there and chase things anymore or figure out the laws of the universe or anything. Like, you are a manifesting queen. Like, you were just in your power. Interesting, she's wearing all green, and I picked up this kind of green witch vibe. So, like, green energy, plant energy, heart chakra energy. I feel like you're going to be doing something you love and earning money from it with the pentacles there. Nine of Pentacles talks all about like independence, like financial freedom potentially. So maybe you end up working for yourself, you create your own practice in some way, or you just have like a side hustle or something where you get, you know, money in from doing something related to this. But I feel like it's kind of like it's all going to come full circle. Like you're going to be able to weave all this learning together, all this healing. You're going to be able to weave all together and like provide stability and support and security and prosperity with that like citrine there. Citrine could be a really good crystal for you as well to tap into that like inner success and inner abundance and inner healing. And inner light as well. Citrine's a yellow crystal, so it's connected with the solar plexus chakra, which is the main one we've been speaking about here. There's a lot of yellow flowers. Also yellow light around this person's head. So yeah. But anyway, coming back to the Nine of Pentacles, this is all about, you being like an independent person, independent, however you identify, just, you know, really stable, secure in yourself, and who you are and what you stand for. Yeah, potentially doing something related to plants or something and earning money from that in some form. It could be, it won't be for all of you, but it could be that some of you, you know, this is like you creating this financial independence as some kind of healer. So it could be working with, like you work out how to heal your inner child wounds. Maybe you go to a specific type of counseling, like I'm trying to see if I can pick up on anything that's coming through. Like, I don't know, it could even be like cognitive behavioral therapy, or like just like a different style of different types of counseling or therapy, Jungian therapy, different things like that. You could try different things, and then you kind of merge, like you weave a bunch of different things together and create like your own healing modality that helps other people find this like inner child and heal their inner child and heal their connection with their intuition. So I'm going to leave your reading there and finish off with two cards that I pulled from the Green Witch Oracle. The other piles I'm using the Daily Rituals card, but for you guys I feel like the Green Witch Oracle is appropriate because I'm picking up a strong Green Witch vibe here for you. So we got card number 21, Trust, which is related to the fire sign, which I feel like is sort of a confirmation of like learning to trust this path and learning to trust where your like inner witch or your inner goddess or your inner wise self or your inner child is leading you. Learning to just trust yourself again, because I feel like, again, I'm picking up a vibe of someone might have been gaslit as a child. Someone might have been gaslit as a child, or their voice suppressed, and they learned to distrust themselves and like put their trust in other people instead. So relearning to trust yourself, relearning to trust your inner child and your inner guidance is the kind of core message here with this card. And then lastly, we got Clarity, card number 1, beautiful, which is an earth sign, and again linked with that kind of gardening energy that I got with the 7 of Pentacles. So like, for some of you, if you're feeling drawn towards growing a garden or connecting with the earth in that way, or growing your own food, maybe some of you might end up having like a some kind of like being like self-sustaining, where you grow your own vegetables and everything, and you just have that, like, the good life, for those of you that might remember that program from back in the day. But yeah, I feel like there's a whole new path. We've got like number 1 here. It's like a new cycle, the beginning of a new cycle, a whole new path that is like you are going to have so much clarity after you go through all this sort of like healing. You're going to really see with the eye there. And this is like connected with the third eye, your intuition. You're going to really be able to connect with that inner intuition, that inner guidance with this card here, as to like what direction you should go in. So I'm going to leave your reading there, pile number 2. I hope that resonated for you. Please leave a comment below if it did. It helps let me know what content is resonating, and it tells the YouTube algorithm what content to send around and helps my little baby channel to grow. I would so appreciate each and every one of you who's been doing that. Hit the like button if you enjoyed it. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you would like to be notified when I next upload a reading. Thank you so much for being here, and all the best with your journey to set your inner witch free. All my love. See you in the next reading. Bye. Hi there, pile number 3. Welcome to your reading on It's Safe to Speak, Set Your Inner Witch Free. If you chose the Azurite crystal or the High Priestess card from the Crystal Magic Tarot, then this will be your reading. Okay, so straight off the bat, pile number 2, the energy that I get from your pile is that you very much have a very open third eye. This might be something you already know. You might be very clairvoyant or have a lot of like the clairs, like clairaudience, clairsentience, that kind of thing, like be able to sense and feel things before they're going to happen, or pick up vibrations or things from other people. You might be able to like predict things a lot, like maybe you're just very like switched on, tuned in, attuned to kind of general energy. So maybe you predict like future events, or you sort of have a ability to predict things in like your friends' lives or in your own life, where you just get that kind of like sixth sense feeling about like a lot of stuff. Some of you might even have mediumship abilities, like you might be able to really connect in with the other side. You can kind of see beyond the veil. You can see like very intuitively connect with with people's guides or with their ancestors or that type of thing. But I feel like mostly you have this sort of priestess ability to be able to kind of channel, like you can channel wisdom, you can channel intuition. So you can both channel like intuitively, like you channel your own intuitive wisdom through, but I also feel like you can channel other people's higher selves or channel intuitive wisdom from people's guides or their higher selves, or like I said, ancestors, or like a sort of set of beings from the other side. So it could be like you can connect with like goddesses, like what I do, or like with ascended masters, or with angels, or with fairies, or with whatever it might be. You just have an ability to like connect. You have an ability to like be like a priestess or a priest. Like you can receive information through your third eye from that other side. And then sort of transmit it out, so to speak. This might be something that is something you already know about. You may already practice it. You may be a fellow tarot reader, in which case welcome. Or it may be kind of a latent ability. It may be something that you kind of just do maybe a little bit on the side as perhaps a hobby, but you haven't like fully stepped into that power, fully stepped into that skill, fully awakened it yet in this lifetime. And it may be because there might have been some things that happened in a past life that might have suppressed that ability. Like maybe particularly I'm seeing if you perhaps know that you might have been a woman in a past life and you were a priestess, and then you were around at the time of like when a lot of the sort of tribal religions took over from all of the like matriarchal or goddess worshipping societies that were present on the earth about 3,000 years ago. Read Maria Gimbutas if you want to know any more information about this kind of stuff, and I'll do more videos in the future about this type of thing. But there were societies that had actual priestesses, and they were like women who received the like wisdom and like channeled with the goddess or with like the spirit realm and brought wisdom through for the community. And then when the masculine tribal religions, or the tribal sort of more warfaring societies came in and kind of took these societies over, a lot of those goddesses, like for example Demeter and all of them got subsumed into this new society that became effectively what we know as patriarchy for about 3,000 years. So it may be that you were a priestess in a past life. You were a woman. You might not be a woman now. You might not identify as a woman now, but you may have been in a past life. and you were the priestess for your community or for your society, for your tribe, in some way, shape, or form. I'm getting like kind of Oracle at Delphi vibes here with these kind of columns. I don't know if you can see that very well. It's not focusing, but yeah, some kind of like, you sort of maybe sat in a temple and you were like this kind of oracle. You were this seer, this visionary. You were able to like receive visions for people. People came to you. You were like, yeah, in a kind of temple space sort of thing. And you like, yeah, you were just very wise. Your third eye was very open. Yeah, and you were just super connected with your intuition. You may have also been very connected with the moon, with these like crescent moons here as well. I'm seeing kind of someone who might have been very connected with like the moon cycle. So again, you might have like given a lot of wisdom to other women or something around like their cycles or something. That might even be something that you do now, or something that you're very in touch with now, because it's kind of this latent skill, or this skill that's being reawoken in you. It's sort of part of this like inner witch archetype that you've kind of carried through, that your soul has carried through from these past lives. Yeah, I'm also getting Vesta, like the Vestal Virgins. So some of you may be very well connected with the kind of Greek pantheon of goddesses. So Vesta might be someone. It might be worthwhile looking up where Vesta is in your chart. So you can actually look up many of the goddesses where they are in your birth chart, because they correspond with asteroids, many of them with goddess asteroids. There's more and more information coming out about this, but for a long time, a lot of this stuff was not really talked about, or suppressed, or not very widely known about. But now there's a lot more around it. So you can actually, I can leave a link below to get your birth chart to find out where these asteroids are. But you could look up Vesta on your chart, because that could be quite significant for you. I'm hearing, especially if she's in the 12th house, which is kind of all about that, like the sort of having that, like the boundaries between yourself and spirit dissolve, and you are able to like, connect with that like higher self, and be that be that priestess essentially for that kind of wisdom. Many people who have a lot of planets in their 12th house may end up doing this type of thing. I myself have a lot of planets in my 12th house. I'm not sure exactly if I've got Vesta there, but it could be very interesting to see where your Vesta is anyway, just as an aside note. But coming back to the moon, I feel like some of you might identify as some kind of like moon or cosmic witch now, or like an intuitive witch, or like you just practice a lot of divination. You do a lot of divination things, or you do a lot of moon rituals, so things on the new moon, things on the full moon, stuff like that. You perhaps do more divinatory things, or you do readings around that time, whatever it might be. But let's get into your oracle cards to see what other guidance we've got. Also, actually, just to say, so Azurite is all about actually connecting with that, like with opening your third eye, with connecting with that sort of regal. I just managed to drop it on the ground. 1 second. Sorry about that, pile 3. Just managed to throw it away. So that might well be of something that happened to you, like possibly in a past life, this skill got suppressed and you had to kind of like discount it, and it's been kind of laying latent in your kind of soul, so to speak, for like lifetimes. Yeah, I just saw 3737 on the clock, which in numerology adds to like 1010. So that can be like end of a cycle. So like you're coming up to the end of that cycle of that being suppressed, and this skill is just going to kind of rise up on you. As I've said with the other piles, this doesn't necessarily mean you have to do this as a career, because your like life purpose or your callings or things you're feeling drawn towards in your soul aren't necessarily always something we do as a like career, or for our job, or for money, or whatever it might be. And it might be that later on in life, or if you're a little bit further along the track of tapping into this priestess ability, it may be that is something you want to manifest for yourself, or you're able to bring about, or you're working on that right now. But for others of you, this will be more of because this is about setting your witch free, and setting your inner witch free, and feeling safe to speak. For most of you drawn to this, I feel like you might be at the stage where you're healing your throat chakra, or you're healing this ability. You maybe already know you have it, or you have it in a sort of like a beginner stages, perhaps. Like you might be just awakening to the power of it, and you're slowly playing with that gift a little bit, is what I'm getting. Some of you kind of being like, trying it out, like trying up, tarot and divination, or trying out crystal ball scrying, or like, or reading like astrology charts, or doing moon rituals, or just kind of playing with connecting with or like psychometry. Is it psychometry is called, where you connect with, like, you can connect with physical objects. I can't remember exactly what it's called, and you pick up energy from them, various kinds of things like that. But azurite is a really, really good crystal to help with clearing any blocks to your third eye, and helping to heighten your psychic and your intuitive and your like clairvoyant, if I can get the camera to focus, your clairvoyant abilities. So sorry, it's not focusing very well, but anyway, it's got beautiful little gold flecks in it, which I kind of feel like is like, that's that inner alchemy, right? You've turned base to gold. You've got this ability to turn things into gold. Like you could get a lot of prosperity from this gift, I feel like, when you fully step into your sovereignty, because with that royal blue, it's very much a color of like inner sovereignty, like feminine sovereignty. So yeah, azurite could be a really, really powerful crystal for you to help you tap into this gift even more strongly. Okay, so let's have a look at the oracle cards first up. So we have got beautiful Rosemary with Ancient Memory, card number 3. Yes, we have got the Lady, card number 9, with Embodiment. We've got Matoaka's Truth, card number 25, with Reconciliation. And lastly, for your oracle cards, we've got Clarity. Beautiful. Okay, and then I'll come back to your tarot cards in a moment, but let's just start with your oracle cards first up. So I'm getting that it's interesting. I'm just noticing all these, it's all women in all of your cards. So most of you might not be, but most of you might identify as a woman now, or certainly I feel like you were in a past life. You may have memories of that, or you may have a strong like maternal grandmother or ancestor, like feminine ancestor that you connect with, because with this person here, there's like this sort of ancestor in the background. But this could also be like, connecting with the goddess, or connecting with like a sort of mother energy, like a mothering guide that kind of helps guide you and helps you like unlock these kind of old memories. There's a lot. Yeah, we've got a lot. These two figures look almost identical. That's amazing. The High Priestess and the Lady, which is kind of the same energy, really. We've got this raven on top of this branch here. Like, ravens are symbolic of birds who bring messages from the other side. So it's like the Lady is standing here with her arms held out, like, I am open to receiving. I'm open to receiving these messages. And it's interesting because these two figures look exactly the same. They're wearing very similar blue dresses with like long, they look like sort of priest. Yeah, they do look like priest or priestess robes, right? And this priestess has got her hands kind of closed in front of her, like sort of blocking her solar plexus chakra, like in front of her solar plexus chakra, kind of covering it. And this is the card you chose, which I kind of feel like is symbolic of like where you're at the moment, where you have this gift and you're maybe aware of it, but you're not maybe fully stepped into shining the light or fully open to it, because her arms are like kind of in front of her body. Whereas with this card, I feel like once you've kind of tapped into these ancient memories and unlocked this memory of this past life, which maybe some past life regression could help do, or even just doing some past life meditations or something like that could really help unlock this energy and the power of this priestess role. Because with this lady here, she's got her hands open and a really open crown chakra, the white on top of her head, which is that link with your higher self, that link with the universe, the link with spirit, with God, goddess. And her hands are like open to the side. She's got a cup in one hand, which is symbolic of the feminine, the chalice, the emotional side, the intuitive side, the being able to pick up feminine wisdom. And the other hand has got the sword, which is the air element, the element of air, the element of like knowledge and wisdom, and like embodying that, both of those sides, both that masculine and feminine energy. And it says, I just said embodied, and then I looked down and it says embodiment. So it's like this figure is the embodiment of that priestess energy, of being able to like connect the realms, being able to hear the messages from the other side and bring them through her. Very much priestess energy is about, it's linked with that sort of tantric energy, if you like, which is about like a lot to do with feeling a lot of this energy through your body, like having that like wisdom embodied in you, like having that connection with the earth. It's not so much that ascetic thing that in some masculine religions it's all about kind of, you know, doing all this stuff to kind of ignore the body and like mistreat the body almost, and like see the body as something that like the more you know, say starve it or like do all these punishments to it, the higher you are to God. No, with like tantric or goddess spirituality, it's about like treating the body as the vessel, like you are the embodiment of the God goddess within you. Your body holds your soul, so you treat it as a vessel accordingly. So I feel like there's maybe something around like going through a re-embodiment process of these like ancient memories, unlocking these old memories, which will be stored in your cells, I feel like. So it may just be something, you know what, that happens really organically. Like I will just tell you from my own experience, and by no means am I saying I am an expert in this whatsoever. I am still, you know, like anything, it's a process, it's a cycle. I'm still stepping into this priestess role, if you like, of you know, channeling with goddess energy, or connecting with that goddess energy and bringing through readings. I have been doing readings for many years, and I've been working with goddess energy for many years and exploring all this energy for about 11-12 years. I've done many goddess retreats and things like that, divine feminine workshops, connecting with different goddesses, both in practice with other priestesses and then in my own time as well. And I still am learning, right? I'm still being connected with different goddesses all the time, and working with the different energies and learning how to kind of channel messages and learning how to embody wisdom and bring this through, and also having past lives awaken within me. So, you know, I am on this journey as well, and some of you may be more ahead than I am. Not that it's like a linear thing whatsoever, but some of you may even be practicing this. You know, you might have been doing, you know, this kind of thing, like channeling messages for people for you know, a decade or something, you know, and you can still be like having memories awaken. You can still have past lives that start to like unlock. It's kind of like, I'm getting given the visual of like gaming, like when you get to a certain level of a game and you've like got a certain amount of points or something, or you've done a certain amount of things, and then it starts to like unlock little like bonuses, or like you get to unlock the next level. And it's kind of like that. Like sometimes, like as you start working with the energy, you start working with some of these memories, you start working with some of your guides, then things start to like unlock organically. Like you start getting downloads, you start getting wisdom coming through, you start getting these messages coming through, you get dreams, you just get past lives just instantaneously, spontaneously coming to you. Like you'll just be walking down the street and suddenly you get a whole past life thing, boom, just like that. Or you go to bed at night and you wake up and you're like, you get a download or something, and it just happens really organically, really just in and of its own accord, if you're open to it. And I feel like most of you are, and most of you want to be, but some of you might be still at this stage where you have this sort of beautiful like inner priestess within you that's wanting to kind of come out and be really open, you know, with her arms, like her hands open to it completely. Like, yes, I am here as a vessel, as an embodied vessel of the divine feminine. I am ready to receive that wisdom, to receive the guidance, to receive the messages, and be the embodied vessel for that and pass those messages on. It's like with that reconciliation, it's like some of you are still reconciling. You're still kind of in this like slightly awkward kind of a like, oh, is this really real? Because we've got this character here, Pocahontas, who's like holding her hand out to this little raccoon, and in the picture, oh, if I can get that, why is the camera not focusing today? I'm not quite sure what's going on here. Maybe I'm moving it too fast, but anyway, hopefully you can see enough. In the picture, she's sitting back on her knees and she's just holding out her hand, and this little raccoon's like, which I feel like is symbolic of spirit, is coming over and like boop, giving her a little like hand bop, which is really sweet. And it's like there's a reconciliation that's happening. I think most of you are somewhere along the lines, you're in the stage of reconciling with this purpose, with this like bigger mission, maybe, if you like, with reconciling with this like higher spiritual part of you, or these like ancient memories, this ability to be this channel, to be this priestess, or even just to be open to what your intuition is telling you. You know, raccoon spirit animal could be something for some of you. This could be a sign, you know, just could be confirmation. This is your reading if you feel connected with raccoons in some way. Yeah, and I'm getting with raccoon energy, actually, it's interesting because raccoons are like quite, they're quite kind of mischievous and quite sort of sneaky, and they can kind of have a bit of a bad rap, I guess, in like how humans maybe perceive them, because I guess they're often like seen as kind of, you know, there might be rubbish trucks or something. I don't really live somewhere where raccoons are, so I'm just picking up on this from a like spiritual point of view, but I kind of feel like this is like going back to what I was saying about the priestesses from times of old who were picking up like God, you know, like channeling wisdom from the divine feminine before it was all suppressed and everything. And it's like, this is the divine feminine. This little raccoons had to kind of go underground, right, for like 3,000 years during patriarchy just to survive. Like this little raccoon's like kind of been scrapping and like kind of surviving somehow in the chaos of the modern world. And then, you know, he's come back out, or she's come back out, and then this is you being like, oh my gosh, like, wow, I've got this connection, like I'm reconciling this connection with that part again, like with this old self, this ancient memory of when I used to kind of do this. And like this is, you know, this is happening massively on a collective scale at the moment. You only have to look at like how many tarot readers there are out there. I think I talked about this in my last reading, actually. If you watched my last reading, I think it was pile 4, which was the intuition card. And I was talking about how it's a lot more open now to, well, I mean, I still wouldn't say it's exactly mainstream, but you know, there's a lot more stuff out there now around like trusting your intuition and learning to connect with it. There's so much more stuff out there around like, you know, you can walk into most bookstores, like mainstream bookstores, and there'll be books about crystals, books about witch stuff, books about goddesses, books about, or, you know, tarot decks, things like that, divination tools, all that kind of stuff. It's slowly but surely starting to like permeate mass consciousness. You know, it's had to survive underground for a long time, but now it's starting to come back out. You know, even it's funny, I was listening, a friend sent me a podcast this morning about witches that was on the BBC, you know, and like it's more and more becoming like a mainstream thing to kind of to do this stuff, to like, you know, so if you've been feeling fear because you know you can channel, and you know that you can pick up messages from the spirit realm, and you just get things through intuitively, you have this like connection with, you know, like I said, some of you might be very connected with animals or something. You might be able to pick up like animal spirit guides, or you might be an animal communicator, like you pick up the spirits of people's pets who have passed or something like that. But whatever it is, whatever the sector, I guess, of the universe that you're picking up on, you might be a bit fearful about fully stepping into that and sharing it with the wider world, because you might think it's really weird, or like you know that you can do it, but you're like, no one else I know does this, or like it's really weird, like no one likes that I talk about it, or like people think I'm crazy, or like it is crazy that I like channel stuff and I get random messages through, like I walk past someone and I get a message from their grandmother, or like from their body, even like with embodiment. Some of you might be like you can channel stuff about people's bodies, like you might be a medical medium. It could be anything, but it's learning to reconcile with that fully and trust it, and trust that it's a gift. And I know sometimes it doesn't feel like that, because believe me, I've gone through that whole thing of being like, what is this thing that just sort of woke up in me one day? And I wouldn't say that it was like a single day, like I did not have an awakening like Eckhart Tolle. I wish I did, but I did not. It was painful and it went on for a really long time, and I resisted it for a really long time as well. So it was not a spontaneous awakening by any means. And I think for most people, it's like, awakening is a kind of cyclical thing that deepens and deepens. Like I said, like you'll get different memories that will unweight, you'll get different levels of skills, you'll get different gifts that will start to unlock. That's why I said at the beginning, for some of you, you might be drawn to other piles because there's other witchy powers, there's other witch lives you've had in the past, and so you may be in the process of slowly but surely unlocking a number of different things over time. But with this clarity, I feel like you definitely have been, your voice has been suppressed in some way, whether this is imposed from the outside or whether this is from within, like you because of some conditioning or something from childhood or teenage years or something. Maybe you used to try and speak about stuff that came through, like maybe you used to try and say to your parents, like, hey, grandma, who had passed away and was in heaven or whatever, grandma's come through and she's saying blah blah blah, and like no one wanted to hear that, and so they told you off or told you like, no darling, like you can't pick up on that, that's not right, like, or whatever, so maybe some of you might have experienced some gaslighting, or just being told your reality wasn't real, or not to speak up about these types of things, or not to speak about your gift. Or maybe some of you were in a religious environment, like a very like one of the more like Brahmanic religions, or a religion where it was like absolutely not okay for you, especially if you're a woman, it's not okay for you to be your own priestess. It's not okay for you to divinate. It's not okay for you to like receive wisdom from the divine and you're the channel for that. Like, no, you are supposed to go to a church and you are supposed to receive that from a man only, and only the men the priests, and the priests are the only ones who can give you any kind of spiritual guidance. You cannot connect yourself. So you might have had some really strong religious or patriarchal conditioning around this, which could have really suppressed this gift. It could be quite like pushed down in you, which could be why it's kind of like you're covering up your solar plexus here, where it's like, you have it, but you're not going to show it to anyone. You're keeping it hidden, kind of thing, like the little raccoon kind of hides around like the rubbish dumpsters and stuff. It's like you've kept it underground, kind of thing. And with this, like all these leaves that are covering her mouth and this moth, it's like this is a gift you've probably had for quite a while that's just been like kind of, I'm getting like moth eaten, like it's been suppressing your true voice for a really long time, possibly through centuries or through various past lives, but it's awakening now, and now is the time, this lifetime is the time to like step into the power of that. You don't have to do this as a career, but it might just be something that like owning this gift and using it in some form and bringing wisdom through for others, even if you just do it as a hobby or as a like community project or something, or like on a channel or something like that. it will be very empowering for you and for others. I feel like the crystal amethyst could be really useful for some of you as well, to help you tap into that, because with the color purple, and amethyst is also very strongly connected with the third eye, like we spoke about at the beginning. So it will help you tap into those intuitive powers and abilities. But yeah, there's a lot of blue with these two blue dresses. Well, blue and purple, I guess. And the blue is linked with the throat chakra, which is all about speaking your truth. And this reading is all about it's safe to speak. So that is the primary message from Hekate today. If you take away one thing from this reading, it's like, it's safe. It's okay. I know you've had persecution in past lives. I know you've been, or even in your even earlier on in this life, you've been ridiculed, or you've been suppressed, or you've been told it's not safe to speak, or something like that. Or you might have got some conditioning from like a feminine figure in your life, whether it's a mother or a grandparent, like, no, don't, like, shush child, like, don't speak up. It's like women or girls should be seen and not heard, or something like that. So part of this lifetime is kind of healing those wounds, healing that throat chakra, feeling safe to speak again, really standing in that truth. Like, this woman's got this beautiful blue dress, so her throat chakra is really healed and open. So, you know, ways to heal the throat chakra are through like meditations. You can look them up on YouTube. There's loads of like specific chakra meditations, and music. You can even just play it overnight or something like that. Drinking a lot of fluids, like lots of teas, and healing tonics, healing herbal teas, things like that can really help like unlock some of the blocks in the throat chakra. Eating blue foods, of which there aren't many. Blueberries is one of them, unless you count the blue string soup from Bridget Jones, but I wouldn't recommend that. And also wearing blue crystals. So azurite, as I mentioned, with the royal blue, which is linked with both the throat chakra and the third eye chakra. So this stone actually powerfully links the two, in the sense that you can both channel and tap into that intuitive ability and then speak that truth and stand in the sovereignty of that. So really, really powerful energy. I'm going to bring out your tarot cards now, although I kind of almost feel like there's not that much more to be said, but let's kind of see what your tarot cards say, because I feel like, I feel like they are going to kind of just echo everything I've been saying, but you know, that's always fun. So let's have a look. We've got 4 of coins, and actually I'm going to move these over a bit. Oh yeah, sorry, I also just noticed with the truth as well, the importance of speaking your truth. And like I said, it's safe to speak. It's safe to speak your truth now. It's important to own your truth. It's important to be reconciled with that truth and, yeah, really embody it. So Hekate was just like drawing my eye to that and saying, you didn't say about truth. So apologies, I missed that before. So we've got 4 of coins. We have got 7 of coins. We've got Temperance, Queen of Wands. Oh, I love this. And the Tower, Black Tourmaline. Woo! Yes. I'm gonna move backwards, actually. I'm gonna start with the Tower, because I feel like the Tower is like, it's knocking down false foundations. It's like ending something that is built on a false foundation. It's ending something that is not aligned with you anymore, that is maybe oppressing you in some way, because it can sometimes speak of like dominant structures in your life that are like controlling you or oppressing you. So yeah, I feel like this is just kind of like the Tower is symbolic of, you know, like patriarchy, really, or like, yeah, sort of patriarchal control. And by patriarchy, by the way, I do not mean men. Okay, patriarchy is a system of power. So we're not talking about gender or about men and women. It's a system. So I feel like this is kind of, it's like illuminating where sort of patriarchal, perhaps religion, like I said, some of you might have grown up in a religious environment that was like a patriarchal religion that said like women can't be priests or can't be priestesses, they can't connect with the divine, bodies are bad, you know, or You know, even just like a oppressive, it may have not even been religion, but it might have been just generally like a very logical schooling or something, or upbringing where it was like only logic was revered, and anything intuitive or anything related to like body wisdom or like your connection with your inner self or your higher self, or a connection with like the divine or anything spiritual or anything kind of mystical, right, was like deemed really bad and really like occult, but like in a like as an offensive, like the people perhaps in your environment maybe saw that as like offensive, like really dark, but like in a bad way, rather than seeing the power in it. And so this is what's been blocking you. This tower is being knocked down because this is the thing that's been like blocking you from speaking your truth, from getting clear on like what you're meant to do, the purpose you're meant to really fully step into. And again, like I said, some of you are already doing it. Some of you are already a little bit further along in this stage, but there's like always layers, right? There's always things that we can purge, or like past lives or old, you know, I mean, it is amazing how much internalized patriarchy, even in people who are like super awake or super like, I still have things that I've been doing this path for like a really long time now. And I say really long time, about a decade. And, you know, there's still some things that I have that come up within me that, you know, maybe blocking my truth. And I'm like, things where I felt hesitant to speak out about something. And it's like, oh, wow, there's that patriarchal religion, because I grew up in a Catholic environment. So very much so, women were absolutely not allowed to do like what I am doing now is absolutely against my upbringing in terms of not so much my parents, but like the church that we went to. So, you know, some of you might have had a similar thing, and that's something. It's like an internalized. You may well be out of your family home by now, but it's still conditioned you in some forms, like very subtly and very insidiously and very powerfully. And it's blocking your truth and it's blocking your voice from getting out. So it's really important that that tower comes down. And I feel like that's what, you know, your soul is going to guide you towards doing anyway. Like these things are going to come up and be pulled away from you or be knocked down in some way. For some of you, this might be quite dramatic. It might be quite dramatic endings, like even walking away from like a more sort of logical career to doing something that's more like this kind of stuff, like being a priestess, being a channel, working with your intuition, working with messages or something. Others of you, it'll be like a bit more of a subtle internal process where it's like layers of patriarchal conditioning starting to like crumble and starting to just awaken more powerfully to this like embodying this priestesshood within you, so that you can speak your truth more powerfully. So like I said, it'll be kind of different for all of you. But once you've released all of that, you can step into this energy. Woohoo! Queen of Wands with this lion here roaring. Oh, I wish I could get the camera to focus a bit better. Sorry, I don't know why it isn't doing it today very well. But anyway, this is a very fierce energy. It's a very in your power. We've got these two sunflowers here, which are about like, you know, it's linked with the sun, which is linked with the solar plexus, which is about shining your light. And we spoke about at the beginning with the hands in front covering the solar plexus, about getting comfortable with shining your light. And I feel like you're going from this to, once you've gone through this tower and cleared out some of these things that have been blocking your truth and reconciled more powerfully with this intuition and this like this channeling ability, you can step into this Queen of Wands energy where you are just boss woman and you're just shining your light. You're so comfortable in it. You know, again, with the blue dress, look at this. How many women in blue dresses have we got on this card? You guys might wear blue dresses quite a lot, and it's like almost the exact same shade of blue as well. It's like a kind of beautiful aqua sea blue. Some of you may be water signs. I just got through as well. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, or you might have one of those signs really strong in your chart. It could be your rising sign as well. For me, I'm a Taurus sun, but I'm Scorpio rising. And I felt like I see rising as something that like rises in you as time goes on. Which there's a really great astrologist called Eugenia Kroc who does a video on YouTube all about that. And I totally resonate with it, because I feel like my Scorpio side, which is kind of that ability to like kind of see the depths and like kind of, connect with kind of all this kind of stuff, it kind of only rose up in me like in my 30s. So like before that I was more just in my kind of sun sign. So some of you might have a water rising sign, and that could be something that starts to awaken in you a little bit later in life maybe. But yeah, with this Queen of Wands, look, she's got a crown, and then above the crown, oh, the camera is not focusing. It's so frustrating. I'm so sorry, guys. You'll just have to take my word for it. There's an eye. There's an eye above the crown that is this third eye that's like wide open. It's the same eye as that's above this one. So it's like wearing that crown of like intuition, like that is your sovereignty. You are just fully in your power. You're just owning it. And look, the color of this card is so blue. So it's like you're owning your truth. You're speaking your truth. You're speaking your voice. You're putting your intuitive wisdom out there, and shining your light. It's like, yeah, both throat chakra and solar plexus chakra in this card, big time. With this Temperance Lepidolite, I feel like this is coming back to what I was saying with this card, with the balance of yin and yang energy, or balance of feminine and masculine energy, with the chalice and the sword, the like cups being linked with the emotional side, the intuitive side, the feminine side, and the sword being linked with the air and the logical side, and the like or the more say like, yeah, ideas, knowledge, wisdom, that side of things. And I feel like you're getting to a point where, or you're going to get to a point where you can maximize, is that the word that they're telling me? Maximize. Yeah, I guess like maximize the strengths of both of those things, like really balance out and like harmonize, and like bring to the fore both that intuitive power and that like knowledge. So some of you might be like writing, or kind of like bringing sort of intuitive wisdom, but out in a form that is like like a book, or sort of some sort of like transmitting knowledge in some way, like maybe doing like a podcast, or something kind of like that potentially. But again, we've got like her arms are really open, like both of these cards, the arms of this woman are wide open, like I'm open, I'm receptive, I'm balanced. And this is a very purple card, which is connected with, again, the third eye. So very open, like open to intuitive wisdom, and then also open and balanced with the kind of more, like masculine logic as well. So for those of you who maybe you've had this like feminine side of you more suppressed because you've had to go into a field that is a lot more like kind of a logical thing, or you had an upbringing that was a lot more like revering logic over intuition, as many of us have, because there's very few cultures in the world where it's the other way around. And it's starting to happen. Like I said, there's a bit more of a balance coming, but it's not there yet. So like there's a healing, there's a balancing out that you're doing. And I feel like you're going to be this like leader in that. Like you're going to be someone who, yeah, you're like an example for others. Like other people can look to you to how you've managed to like weave these like and balance these like masculine and feminine energies within you. It's really beautiful energy. You guys are amazing. I love this. 7 of coins here. I'm getting like, it's interesting. There's this golden road here, and this woman's kind of looking at it a little bit like with a side eye, like a little bit suspiciously, like, what am I meant to do? Where am I going? And I feel like this is sort of saying like, your yellow brick road is not a linear path. Like you are not meant to go down this like I'm hearing 9 to 5 route. So maybe some of you do a kind of 9 to 5, or do that kind of standard, like I do this at school and then I study that at uni and then I get that job and then I climb the ladder, and it's very like linear, it's very like logical, it's been done before, it's like step, and you can see the path and it's straight. It's very like, it's very masculine, it's very straight, it's very logical. And it's not to say you're not gonna, you know, if you've already been in a career, or you're already in some kind of job, or you've already done some training in that area, it's not to say you're not going to use any of those skills in this field. But you're being called, and I know you're a little bit, many of you are a little bit reticent at the moment, because you can see with her face, she's kind of looking at it like, really? What am I meant to do? Like, this is a very windy path. And like I said, it's like, this is cyclical. Like, these things change, they evolve. Like, you get different past lives start to come up, like different gifts start to unlock as time goes on, and you can weave all those things in together with it. And it's like, it's not a linear journey, it's a cyclical journey. It's the journey of the feminine. So these things like deepen, these memories start to like arise in you more and more as you like follow that path, follow that yellow brick road, so to speak, the winding yellow brick road. But I do feel like with all these coins kind of raining down here, it's like this path goes all the way up to this ancient memory. So whatever role that you have ancient memories of that are stored in your cells somewhere, when you unlock those, and I'm being drawn to say, when you walk away from something that isn't serving you as well, this will be when your abundance comes in, or your security and stability, and like everything, all abundance, like not just financial abundance, but like emotional abundance, spiritual abundance, abundance of great people, like your soul tribe, like just an abundance of everything will start to flow in for you. But it's like a little bit further up, like you're here just starting, or actually this is you, there's home, you've left home, or you've left the tower, you started and you're here, but it's like you've got to go a little bit around that bend, and you can't see from here what's around there, and from there you can't see what's going to be around there, but it's like you've got to follow that intuition all the way around. And the more you do, the more it'll unlock, right? These like extra memories, these extra like gifts, these extra things that you can potentially monetize is what I'm hearing, that these extra skills that you can use and that you can receive reciprocal value for. This is a very yellow card, which, like I said, is connected with the solar plexus, as we spoke about with this card. So all about shining your light, all about putting yourself out there, you know, being seen for who you really are, speaking your truth with all that blue as well, really standing in your power. With with the sunflowers here, it's like once you stand in your power as this like intuitive goddess that you really are, boom, all the pentacles will start to come. It's like they're a little bit, you're maybe a little bit frustrated at that now, because you might be starting on this journey and being like, yeah, well, this is great and all, doing all this channeling stuff, but like, where's the money? Or like, where's the stability? Or like, you know, I still need my job, I still need this old structure to support me. And I feel like your guidance is kind of saying, like, if you trust this path and really move towards it, the more you trust it and the more you reconcile with it, the more abundance is just going to come to you, and you're going to get back tenfold is what I'm hearing of what you used to have in those old structures. Wow, you have to let me know how that goes and how you did that. Trust really is how you'll do it. But yeah, then we've got Four of Coins, which I'm picking up a few different things here. One is the infinity symbol, which is giving me that like masculine, feminine. It's coming back to that temperance energy, the balancing out, the flow of like yin and yang energies together, balancing both your masculine and feminine sides, balancing that, doing work with that both like individually and collectively maybe. And also like with the kind of the Ouroboros here with the snake eating its tail, which is symbolic of like a never-ending cycle. Like, this is something you've always done in past lives, it'll happen again. Like, you know how to do this already, like you've already been around the block, you're not new to all of this. It's just kind of trusting it, unlocking it, keeping on going down that path, trusting where your intuition is guiding you. And with the coins here, or the pentacles, this is equivalent to Four of Pentacles, which is a lot to do with like, or it can be to do with sort of conserving wealth or like keeping things. So what I'm getting is Yeah, okay. I'm picking up. It's coming back to that, like, you have got a wealth of wisdom within you, locked within you, that you've been keeping hidden all this time, with coming back to that, what I was saying at the beginning, with the arms covering the solar plexus. It's like you're not shining that light. This is a very sort of dusky card. So it's like all of this wisdom, all of this infinite wisdom that you've built up from all these memories of past lives, even if you're not necessarily fully conscious of them yet or not, it's all within you and it's ready to be like unlocked. It's like treasure. Four of Coins always, it's sometimes shown, I think in the Everyday Witch deck actually, it shows a treasure chest, which I love because it is like, and it's got a person sitting on top of the treasure chest and they're just kind of looking around like, what? Like, I'm stuck in this prison. And actually, hold on, I'm going to find it because it's relevant. Okay, I found it. So, yeah, see, he's like, oh, again, it's not blooming focusing, sorry, but he's like in the prison and he's got this treasure chest and he's sitting on it and he's like, oh, I'm stuck. I can't do anything. I've got to stay down. I've got to keep my mouth shut. I can't share this with anyone. I've just got to hold on to it. I'm just going to keep it locked within me. I've just got to keep it locked, keep it shut. Like he's sitting on it like he's like 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 it's almost like constipated. It's like there's so much energy within you that's kind of like wants to get out, and this your spirit guides, which is symbolized by this little cat here, are over by the window going, you're not locked in here forever. You can leave. So I also feel like some of you definitely might have grown up in quite an oppressive environment, or like I'm kind of getting like maybe you went to university or something and that very much like trained you out of all this intuitive wisdom, or you just had quite an oppressive environment which you still feel somewhat tied to or loyal to or like stuck in to an extent, or like you're stuck in a job and picking up someone else who's like stuck in their 9 to 5 and they're like sitting on this treasure, which is this wisdom, which is this ability to channel and ability to get intuitive messages through. And it's like you can leave out the window. Like you can take this wisdom and share it with people and make money from it. Like, you know, like you'll get abundance. Like with the 7 of Coins there, like abundance will start to rain down. Like this you've got some kind of really strong guides here, some really like powerful either goddesses or maternal guides, or like I'm getting Goddess Mary for some of you, or Mary Magdalene even. Beautiful energy. Wow, super powerful. Connecting with rosemary, like rosemary essential oil or rosemary essence, could be really powerful way to help unlock some of these memories as well. But yeah, some of you or most of you have really, really strong feminine ancestral guides or goddesses or something overseeing you. And even though you're down here in sort of the modern world being like, what? Me? Little on me? Like, no, I've got to do my 9 to 5. Like, I don't have time to channel stuff. Like, what is this path? I can't see a logical end to it. I can't see what the outcome is going to be if I do like 1 + 1 = 2. Like, what? Like, this is all windy. But like, the more you trust it, the more abundance is going to come to you. The more you can step into your power and shine your light, and yeah, you will have everything will come, but it'll be not in the way you expect, is what I'm getting. Like, it's not a linear path. And I just saw 22202 on the clock, so that's like 4 2s, which is 8, which is 8, the infinity symbol. So yeah, it's like you are super powerful. You have like infinite wisdom. You have access to like the infinite, or to like goddess consciousness if you want to connect with that, or with any kind of consciousness, any kind of higher consciousness. And I feel that you are meant to use that kind of, it's not to sort of discount any of your training or any of your perhaps more that logical side of you or that masculine side of you. It's like weaving that together. It's like balancing those two sides out, like getting the wisdom from, or getting the intuition from the feminine side, and then sort of putting that wisdom out there through, you know, the through a logical way of like writing a book, like I said, or like, you know, there's a logical process to like needing to get your ideas out. Like you can have all the creative energy or all the inspiration or all the intuition come through. That's the kind of receiving part. That's that chalice. That's that connecting with your emotions, connecting with your intuition. But the masculine part is then like taking all of that and then being like, okay, what do I do with this now? How do I get it out? So for me, it's like I'm channeling now, which is my feminine part, but the whole structure around how I do this, like everything I do on YouTube, you know, getting all that set up, have it, you know, setting up the camera and everything, which note to my masculine stuff, I'm going to have to sort out a better camera because this one has not been focusing properly. But anyway, I've got to combine them, right? Like I use a lot of my skills from my corporate job. Let's go with that. My school and my schooling and my corporate job to do this, but it's my feminine intuition that is channeling. It's the feminine side that's the priestess side, but there's a structure around it that is still that yang side, the masculine side, the putting the self out there side. So that was a powerful reading, pile 3. My goodness. Congratulations if you stayed the whole way to the end. I'm in awe because that was really long. I don't even know how long it was, but I feel like it was really long. I feel really warm because it's really muggy here in Cornwall at the moment. And that was really powerful energy that came through. I had to stand up to channel your reading because there's so much energy. My goodness. But it's funny because all these goddesses are all standing up, except for this one. She's kneeling, but these 3 are all standing, and that one. So I just wanted to copy the ladies on the cards. Anyway, my lovely pile 3s, I love your energy. I feel like I could stay here all day, but I need to go and do pile 4. So I'm going to love and leave you. Thank you so much for being here. Please leave me a comment below if it resonated. I really love to hear from you, and it helps me know which content is resonating. And also hit the like button. It just helps tell the YouTube algorithm to send my content around, which helps my little baby channel to grow. I so appreciate each and every one of you who's been doing that for me. Also hit the subscribe button if you're not already, and the notification bell so you'll be notified when I next upload a reading. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for letting me read for you today. All the best with setting your inner witch free, and I will see you in the next reading. All my love. Bye. Hi there, pile number 4. Welcome to your reading on It's Safe to Speak, Set Your Inner Witch Free. If you chose the Hermit card and the Herkimer diamond, then this will be your reading. Okay, so pile number 4, straight off the bat, I get the vibe that you guys might be quite comfortable with Hermit energy. Like maybe you might identify as like a solitary witch, or you might do a lot of your like whatever your kind of way of connecting with spirit is. This could be, some of you could be creative, so you might connect in with like the muse or just any kind of spiritual practice, or some of you might do like mirror work or something. I'm seeing with these kind of mirrors here, but whatever kind of spiritual practices or healing practices or creative practices that you do, I feel like you mostly do them in isolation or in like in a solitary way, or yeah, kind of generally speaking on your own. I feel like you're very much someone who you're sort of that traditional, almost like the pilgrim, or the traditional, like that sort of concept of like, you know, like 7 years in Tibet or something, like someone who goes off and they meditate for a period of time, like in isolation from their normal work or their normal society or community or whatever, or their family, and they receive all this like spiritual wisdom, and then they're able to like eventually bring it back to their like wider community, or something, after like, you know, really receiving so much like spiritual wisdom from this period of being kind of like isolated or kind of pulled away. I feel like there's sort of, yeah, some aspect of you that like needs to be alone to kind of see yourself. It's almost like you don't necessarily see yourself. You might identify as like an introvert, or you don't really see yourself clearly via others. Like you need to do it kind of like on your own. Or also maybe you're very creative, like with this this modern day, this is from the Modern Goddesses deck, with this modern day Hekate here, she's holding a camera. So maybe some of you are like photographers, or you really like photography, or you know, writing, or any kind of creative school, or painting or something like that. And you tend to like hermit yourself quite a lot and spend a lot of time on your own, you know, with the muse, if you like, or with your creative skills. So I feel like maybe what's been called, and we'll get into your cards in a moment, but I feel like with this dog here, like dogs are symbolic of, like they're one of Hecate's like totems, if you like. And dogs are often symbolic of like that loyalty, right? Like that kind of sense of like unconditional love, unconditional loyalty. You know, being like, you know, you often hear like your canine friend kind of thing, the phrase like your canine friend. They're like kind of friend for life, or they're like loyal for life. And I feel like maybe a little bit pile number 4, part of your journey towards setting your inner witch free is to like get to a point where you're bringing some of this spiritual wisdom that you're so good at getting on your own back to like your community of like little followers or friends or people, or, you know, and it doesn't have to be like on a massive scale. Like if you're, like I said, if you're a huge introvert and you just don't like connecting with crowds, or you wouldn't want to ever do public speaking, or, you know, or presentations or anything on a big scale, or even necessarily even be on social media at all, that's totally fine. Like it might just be more about working with people on a one-to-one level, or working with very small groups of people, or just coming and bringing some of this wisdom or some of your creative ideas and inspiration to a very small community or a friendship group or something. Yeah, I feel like that's where this little dog is trying to lead you. He's like, hey, what about, you're kind of like, I'm busy, I'm doing my work, I've got to take photos, or I've got to do my important divinating or like mirror work, or sort of inner child healing work or whatever. And I feel like you're very diligent with your spiritual work and your spiritual healing, and that's amazing. And I feel like you're being congratulated for that, because you're, well, not so much congratulated, but like, you know, like it's like your guides are like, you've already got that down pat. Like, you know what you're doing with that. You're excellent at being able to like connect with your higher self. I feel like you have a very open crown chakra. And yeah, I'm just getting with all these mountains. It's like you can kind of go off into the mountains and you can like download the wisdom, and then you have it. And I feel like this little dog is kind of like, okay, now it's time to like share it a little bit. So let's get into your cards and see what they have to say. So, oh, adorable. We've got Amanita, card number 42 with Conduit, which has got, my camera hasn't been focusing very well today, so I apologize if you can't see very much of this detail, because it's, there we go. It's really cute. These little elves in this little community, so sweet with the wee mushrooms. Then we have Rewilding with Grandmother Moon, card number 1. And the Wild Woman Oracle. Let's put your little Heckman diamond over there. We have Listen. Gorgeous. And the Silver Bow with Love. Ah, beautiful. And the swan and the dove there. So really gorgeous energy. Card number 12. And we've got some tarot cards, which I'll come back to in a moment. But let's just start with your oracle cards. So I feel like pile number 4, I'm sorry, just focus the camera there. You are going through a bit of a process, and some of you'll all be at different stages of this because it's a general reading. But I feel like you're being called towards this process of rewilding. And rewilding is kind of about getting back to like your wild self, your true self, your inner essence, your uninhibited self, the self that feels confident to like express its authenticity, and it's like to fly your freak flag, like, and sing your tune. With this wolf, he's howling at the moon, and it's like this person is actually watching the wolf and like absorbing that wolf energy of like, yeah, I want to howl, I want to like get my voice out there, I want to share my wisdom kind of thing with others. And it might be like maybe joining like women's circle or a men's circle or something. or a group, some kind of little spiritual group, eventually could be really helpful to help like find that courage to kind of share your voice a little bit. But maybe this is something you're going through just on your own at the moment, as you connect with that part of you within. I'm hearing the book Women Who Run with the Wolves. That could be really, really, it could be a useful book to take a look at, because it's all about connecting with those like wild archetypes within, those parts of ourselves that have been suppressed, right? Because yeah, I feel like, again, it's like this is kind of saying, this is sort of confirming to me what I was picking up at the beginning with this Hermit card, where you are like a conduit. Naturally, it says on this card here, this Amethyst card, like you are an actual conduit for spirit. Like you can just connect in, you have like your practices, or you meditate, or you go into nature, or whatever it might be, or you go into the flow zone, and you can just connect with the muse, or you can connect with spirit, and you're like a conduit. You can bring that, either that wisdom or that inspiration down and into form. Like you can then create a painting out of it, or you can write something out of it, or you can like you have this like download about like the meaning of life or something like that. Like you're just very connected in that sense. You are like a conduit for like spiritual energy. I feel like that is kind of your, just who you are. It might not be something that you necessarily acknowledge, because again, this could be shadow energy, so it could be stuck in your shadow self or from a past life. It could be like a little bit suppressed still. It could be just starting to awaken, or you could be a little bit further along and be like, yep, absolutely, I already do that. Like I'm definitely a conduit. I definitely feel that energy. Like I already go out into the wild and like connect with the moon. Some of you may identify with like moon witch, or like moon witch rituals or something. You do a lot of like, yeah, connecting with the moon, releasing around the full moon, setting intentions at the new moon, things like that. But maybe some of you have been on a journey of like rewilding yourself. We've got 3 forest cards here. 4 actually. This is kind of a forest. There's 1 tree, but it's kind of out in the wild. But all these cards have forests. We've got a forest here, we've got forest here, and we've got a forest here. So there's something around like getting out into nature, getting out into the wild, in order to use that as a like the setting to help connect with like your inner nature, your inner wild self, your true self, so that you can really listen to who you really are, to your own inner voice. I feel like possibly for some of you, part of this desire to hermit yourself could be from some kind of childhood trauma. It could be from some kind of like narcissistic abuse type situation where you were never really allowed to be who you really were, and your voice was silenced, or like your true nature was really suppressed because whoever was the narcissistic person in your life wanted you to be a certain way, or wanted you to adopt a certain role, or wanted to kind of push you down a certain route, or you know, maybe you were brought up in a very meritocratic environment where like the only sort of unconditional love you got, or the only love you got, was if you like achieved something. So you had to like kind of push yourself down a certain route of like achieving, or something along those lines. And I feel like because of maybe some of that trauma, you may have some difficulties trusting both yourself and your intuition, and trusting other people. Because with love here, I feel like this is a very open, receptive, very feminine energy. It's very nurturing. It's also, we've got the swan here, and swans are very like, they're creatures of sort of serenity, and you know, like they might be paddling furiously underneath in the water, but they just glide along, so they just look, everything is very sort of serene. There's this very serene state here. And I feel like there's a process you're going through of rewilding yourself, reconnecting with your wild self, listening to your inner self, to who you truly are, so you can eventually come out and be able to connect with others, to feel calmer and more comfortable, more serene, more okay about connecting with others, trusting others, loving others, receiving love from others, sharing wisdom with others, because you are a conduit and you are meant to like receive and channel kind of wisdom and guidance. With the Hermit diamond, this can talk about having like clear audient abilities, things like that. That can like how it can help you attune to some of those abilities. And I'm not getting so much things like clairvoyancy. It's more, yeah, clairaudience. It's like you can hear wisdom, you can hear guidance from like spirit, or from like the animal world, or from the natural world. Maybe even some of you can connect with like the elementals, like the fairy world or something like that as well. But there's something around getting into nature. All these cards have nature on them, so nature could be very powerful for you. Connecting with trees in some way could be very powerful, and connecting with that like inner voice, and strengthening that inner voice, really listening to your inner voice and what your inner voice is like, where your inner voice is guiding you. I feel like you generally already do that to an extent, but it's like stepping into it in a more powerful way, so that you can bring this guidance and this like what you're hearing, this wisdom that you pick up on, that you can hear, it's bringing it to others. It's like being able to share that like love with others in some way. It's like you can some of you might be musicians actually, with this woman playing a harp. I'm definitely getting a big creative vibe from this pile. But yeah, some of you, it's like you then get to a point where you can come out and play your music, you can sing your tune, you can put your music out there, you can speak your truth, and trust that like people will love it and people will love you, because you are really lovable, pile number 4. You have so much to give, but I feel like you've been taught to kind of like distrust your inner voice or something, or block your inner voice, or just keep it to yourself, kind of like just sort of hermit, like you just sort of keep it to maybe like yourself and 1 or 2 other close people, and that's it. Let's have a look at your tarot. So we've got the Emperor, we have got the Empress, we have got Page of Pentacles, beautiful. I'm just going to move all these up so you can actually see them. Oopsie. We've got the Nine of Swords, which came out in reverse, and the Six of Cups under Love. Beautiful. Yeah, absolutely. I feel like these cards are just literally confirming everything we've got here. Like the Listen card with the Nine of Swords reverse, it's like maybe you've been listening to your anxiety, because this is often a card of insomnia or anxiety, or like mental health issues maybe, or just like feeling overwhelmed with like intrusive thoughts or something like that. All these swords are like, you know, cutting you, right? They're like maybe negative self-talk or negative conditioning that you've had that are like sort of piercing your mind and like taking over your thoughts. And it's like really important for you to rewild yourself and get back out in nature so you can actually hear your inner voice, because spirit whispers, right? Like intuition whispers. Anxiety shouts, like anxiety screams. It's so loud, but intuition whispers, and it's really important for you to be able to like hear that, to listen to that quiet voice. And getting out in nature, getting into the wild, maybe even around the full moon, or you know, at the new moon or something, but just somehow getting out into nature, even if you have to take a break, go on holiday, or like travel a little bit, go on a train somewhere or something to find like some woods near you, or a park, or just something, some kind of form of nature. You don't have to like go on a massive wild retreat for like 2 weeks with no communication or anything, but just even like for a day or something. I think most of you probably already do this and are already connected with this side of you, but yeah, I feel like this is going to be key to like both regrounding yourself, and like this Page of Pentacles, she's this young girl. It's kind of like listening to your inner child, like listening to this young part of you that really wants to like just do stuff connected with the earth, like maybe do some gardening or do something connected with nature, or like, yeah, do some painting or something, or yeah, it's kind of like taking little steps towards doing something that makes you feel more grounded and makes you like helps you listen to your inner voice more clearly. Because I feel like that's going to be like a new step towards like creating a whole new life for yourself, really, where you are in control again. Like you are both this empress and this emperor of yourself. It's like, yeah, you've got this like explosive energy within you that I feel like you keep a lid on. Like you keep, it's like this is you are a conduit, right? And like this energy is supposed to flow through and erupt out and be able to like kind of go out to everyone around you. But like maybe you've been keeping a bit of a lid on it and being sort of in this hermit mode. It's interesting, we've got both the emperor and the empress here, so we've got that balance of masculine and feminine energy. It's like you have that receptor, that ability to receive. I just saw 44 and 11 on the clock, and 4s are about setting foundation. So yeah, this is all about like creating a new foundation for yourself where you're in more alignment. The 2 ones are to do with alignment, where you're in more alignment with this self that is the conduit for spirit, or is the conduit for like the muse, so that you can like create a new foundation for yourself. You can create this new like kind of like empire, if you like, if you want to do something that big, or it might be on a small scale initially, but it might be something that over time you kind of grow. But eventually I feel like you're going to get to this point with the 6 of Cups and the love, where you'll feel comfortable enough listening to your intuition and listening to like trusting yourself as a conduit to receive the wisdom down and be able to give it to others, because it's all about like giving this love away. It's not about kind of like keeping it inside yourself. Like you've got so much love to give, you've got so much wisdom to give, you've got so much like joy to give, you've got so much like beautiful creative energy and like ideas and things to give, but it's sort of just been hermited, it's been kept to yourself. And I think these 2 cards, 6 of Cups, this is kind of like a bit like a soulmate card. So this may be that indicating a soulmate comes in for you. This isn't a love reading though, so that won't be for all of you, but maybe for some of you, like you might have your counterpart come in that might help wake this up and help you to like really share this work with the world in a more powerful way. But I do feel like you're really meant to get to a point where you can share. It's like there's this little child here. It's like giving down to like the next level down kind of thing, or the sort of, what I'm hearing is like spiritual initiates. Like maybe you're going to sort of initiate people like on the spiritual journey. You're going to help awaken people. You're going to help them connect with their emotional selves. Connect with their inner child. Herkimer Diamond can speak of like inner child healing. So maybe, connecting with like your inner child could be something that could be really important for you. Like giving to that inner child, listening to that inner child, right? And then like, maybe eventually being in a position where you can like give to others, and you can like see that inner child self in others. Like with that Hermit card, I spoke about like the mirror and being able to see the self in the mirror, see the true self in the mirror, or see that kind of child self in the mirror. So maybe there's a kind of aspect of you where you can once you're able to connect with your true self, once you're able to really rewild yourself and really listen to your intuition, really listen to your inner child, you'll be able to like do that process for other people. That will be something that you can help do for others. You can help give that process to others, or give that gift to others as well. You can initiate them into like healing and into finding their true selves as well. If it's something in nature, if it's something like, it could be that you do go on some kind of wild retreats, or like wild training things where you help, you connect with your wild self while you're on that, like a wild women's circle or something like that. And then you you then, that's sort of a pathway you then take where you're doing more like, you know, green witchery type stuff, or like connecting with nature or getting out in the wild. And then like, because this person's giving a pot plant with these little roots sticking out, so it's like, yeah, you're then, and there's all these like plants all around, so it's like you then give that gift to others, like how they can rewild themselves, how they can connect with that part of themselves and heal their inner child. Oh, that's so, so beautiful. I love this energy for you, pile number 4. But it's really important. I feel like if you are struggling from like insomnia or a lot of anxiety or whatever, sometimes anxiety can be like too much creative energy that doesn't have an outlet, or too much spiritual energy that doesn't have an outlet, because you are a conduit. You know, you are someone who receives wisdom, you receive energy from like the spirit world, and you're meant to like channel that through you and then give it away, like not just kind of keep it inside yourself, because when that energy like gets suppressed, like with a volcano, it can just kind of corrode and sort of turn into like anxiety. That's like the energy being misdirected, because it's not flowing, it's not allowed to just erupt kind of thing like this volcano. Whew, I feel like that's all the messages I have for you, pile 4. I'm going to finish up with a daily ritual card for you. I have a daily ritual card for pile 4. I have a daily ritual card for pile 4. I have a daily ritual card. Oh, there we go. If I can pick it up. Aurora, beautiful. I'm renewed with the dawn of each day. Oh, that's so beautiful. Yeah, so morning rituals might be quite important for you to get your mindset on the right track and help you listen to your like inner self, your intuition. So doing some kind of meditation or something in the morning might help you like overcome any kind of anxiety or anxious thoughts. Getting out into nature, grounding, which I think most of you already do, but just kind of doing it more consciously maybe, or more as a like honoring that ritual every single day if you're able to do that, honoring that you are a conduit, that you are you are someone who can like channel that energy very powerfully. You do have a very powerful open crown chakra, and actually it's interesting, she's got the sun behind her crown, like around her crown chakra, so it's a very like beautiful open crown chakra that I feel like you have. Yeah, I'm renewed with the dawn of each day. Yeah, I think you are going through a bit of a renewal process. You are going through perhaps a bit of a like shedding of an old self that might have been suppressed, and then you're going through this general process of renewal and tapping into that like sort of wild witch kind of thing. Like I'm just getting very like moon witch vibes, nature witch, green witch, hedge witch. But you know, you don't have to identify as any of those things. They're just labels. You know, you could sort of blend a lot of different things in what you do. You could be into like gardening, or like I said, just going on like wild retreats, or that could be something that could just help at the moment, getting out into nature a lot more. That will help renew you. It will help renew your energy, and it will help you manage any anxiety you might have been having. I'm going to put that back in reverse because that's how it came out. Okay, my lovely pile number 4s, I'm going to leave your reading there. Thank you so, so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment below if it resonated. I really love to hear from you. It helps me know what content is resonating. If you also hit the like button, it helps tell the YouTube algorithm to send my content around. I would so appreciate that, and I appreciate each and every one of you who's been leaving comments and liking and being wonderful community. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you're not already, and the notification bell so you'll be notified when I next upload a reading. Thank you so, so much for being here, and all the best with your journey to setting your inner witch free. All my love, and I will see you in the next reading.